Yunara, team fights are so free for us. And now T1 end up with a Poppy, which feels almost like desperation as a get-out-of-jail-free card for setting up on objectives. For example, if you can knock some of those champions away, you might be able to get that fair fight. For team fights, when we get to 3rd Drake, 4th Drake, when we get to Baron, it's all about can T1 win the fight practically instantly, or do they lose it? There is no in-between. There is no late game where we're going to see Gumayusi barely clean up the fight. That is so rarely going to happen when these two compositions collide.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And it's going to be a difficult Poppy game as well, right? Because there's quite a few champions that just don't really care, right? Galio, happy to get knocked away. He can just fly back in almost immediately. Vi presses ult. You can't move her around anymore. And the Camille has the ability to go untargetable as well if you can time it correctly. So going to be a tough game to really get the most Keeper's Verdict value. Let's get onto the Rift here for game number 1 of this do or die best of 5. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for game number 1. Gen.G versus T1, the El Clasico here for our final day in LoL Park. And it's kind of insane that one of these teams does get to go to the Inspire Arena later on next week, and another team is just going to be going home. And not only that, but also has to face off against the 4th seed of the LPL in the first best of 5 of Worlds. They could have, like, there could be 3 games and then you're just home again.
Yeah,
for T1 or Gen.G, what?
It's crazy how we went from, it's always either T1 or Gen.G lifts the LCK trophy, and there's different times in different eras where we're like, oh, it's definitely either Gen.G or T1, like one is so favored, to Hanwha Life lifting the trophy last season in summer, to now one of these teams gets the chance to play the lower bracket finals, and we still might not have either of them, actually. Yep. It could still be Hanwha Life versus KT in the grand finals. So just crazy to see a big shift here in the LCK right now, as this bottom 2v2 is going to be quite volatile here. Duro going to be playing this Braum into the Poppy, which also kind of hurts Lucian picks, by the way, for the future of this series.
Oh, that's actually a really good point. Kind of does make that a little bit more difficult. We have seen some experimentation, like the Janna Lucian that we saw the other day. Wasn't exactly our favorite. Well, I mean, it was mine because it was Beryl that played Janna, but
he did some cool stuff.
He did some cool stuff, even if it didn't necessarily work out. But I think you're right. I think the Braum coming out now might really change up how this series is going to look. As Doran and Keen trading blows back and forth here. You can see Doran pretty happy with his release date, and Keen just doing his very best to weather the storm. It will get to a point where Keen can just sort of nuke people by, you know, pressing Q and stuff like that, as Chovy finding some Winds of War against Faker here.
Faker having a great start to this lane, avoiding those Winds of War at level 1, just constantly applying that pressure, ramping up those auto attacks, pushing Chovy out of the lane, harassing him with his Q. Canyon is 8-1 on this Vi, but more impressively, I think, is Chovy's 12-0 Galio.
Yeah, that is a score line that he has right there. Not too bad at all. Things looking pretty good over here on T1 side as well, outside of the pretty surprising lower win rate here for Gumayusi's Corki. Hasn't necessarily found as much success.
Now notice the junglers of both path different directions. This top lane is very gankable for Canyon to come up here and look for absorbing that pressure that Doran is looking to put on here. You mentioned the release state difference. It's just a really hard matchup for Camille early because Doran has those shields, has all those dashes, so could just outmaneuver him essentially in the lane. But this is a gankable lane where the Vi has power. Bottom side, looking for a little bit of a trade here. Not as gankable for the Xin Zhao, I would say, though.
Yeah, not so much. Bit of Slurkle value there on Decaria, but not too much more. Do want to say thank you to Valdez yesterday for really vindicating the Slurkle, and I appreciated it so much. Just needed him to know that.
Look at this, by the way. Like, we mentioned it briefly. Like, this is across, now 15 across international events as well. 2 times at EWC, that win at MSI as well. This is for all time.
He's pretty good at Galio.
He does have the most famous Galio play of all time as well before it was changed.
He does.
Because of him.
the good old Flash Taunt.
Yeah.
That was DRX against Gen.G.
Yeah.
So that was BDD. I think BDD was playing Zoe in that series. Kind of crazy stuff. I think I went back and watched that play like a few months ago. just because I was like, nah, there's so many phenomenal Galio games for Chovy. I remember the 4-man taunt, but I couldn't remember the context all that well.
I remember it very well because it was on my caster audition for the LCK.
Hey, I was there for that too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my memory of that isn't quite as good. I have to admit, I did a few of those auditions. As Chovy and Faker still just laning it out here, both of them having teleported back in. And CS numbers looking fine as Chovy is going to be able to justicely punch his
Faker
way through the wave.
Constantly applied pressure in this lane, and yet still Chovy is only a minuscule number of CS down.
He is good at red dots.
He really is. So we do see the lane swaps coming in here at the same time. Top laners teleporting down to the bottom lane, so it's really just a zero-sum lane swap. End up being the same matchups both sides, which means that this Dragon, since there is no big lead in this bottom lane, may go unattended for a little while here in this game.
And there is still the chance of a Cloud Soul, which is absolutely fantastic. I just really think that the Earth, Wind, and Fire vibes, it's the chasing the clouds away part of it that I think is the most important. And so a Cloud Soul in Game 1.
It's the 21st night of September, right?
Yes.
Well, still a little bit early for that, so, you know, it's 3 p.m.
I'm sure it's the night somewhere.
Yeah.
You know? I don't quite know where.
Like, maybe if it goes 5, you know, we get that Cloud Soul in Game 5?
Yeah.
As yet, Yunara does count lanes.
Okay, Gumiushi taking a lot of damage. Has to barrier here underneath the turret, but has already taken a lot. Is now Carrier in a bit of trouble. Vault Breaker comes in from Canyon, who's been pretty active, or at least has found a bit of an angle to be useful here towards this top side of the map.
So it's Dragon here for a barrier of Guma and some potential plate gold here. He's going to lose some farm as well. He's already a little bit behind in that regard. So this is a pretty big win here for Gen.G, but at least T1 is able to stack that first Dragon on the other side of the map. Grubs are not spawning for 2 minutes here, so they'll have time to reset and look for that as well. As Doran is continuing to put pressure on in this lane, but won't really find himself with a CS advantage. And the Camille, like I said before, is really just about team fights later on. It's the setup with the Galio they drafted it for, not because they think it's going to smash Ambessa in this early game or gain prio.
Yeah, I do still think that Keen will have a great time in side lanes as well later on in the game. It's one of the reasons why Camille has been so good is that she does team fight really well, gets that backline access, but also just kind of nukes turrets.
Canyon's going to have level 6 here. There is a control ward on that Tri-Brush, but this is a nice setup for Gen.G.
Yep, there's the hook shot to come in. Hextech Ultimatum comes down there as well as the public execution tries to come out here as Doran has to flash, but the flash forward from Keen! And this Camille looking for a first blood, although doesn't have a lot of mana, but the Winter's Bite is going to land. Doran in a lot of trouble, but still dashing away. Oh my goodness, just the Ambessa things, and Doran is actually gonna be okay.
The craziest part of all this to me is you lose so much because Ruler's in trouble now here on the top side. It's gonna force a TP here from Duro. He will get back just in time, but also the fact that Canyon was just chilling the whole time. Like, he was down there, and I guess he just assumed they had enough to kill Doran. So he's like, I'm not going to waste my time coming over there to secure the kill. But because he doesn't show up, Doran does get away, is down his flash now, and is going to lose a plate here. But it was a dangerous moment there for Ruler topside. Hits level 6.
Yeah, that is going to be the stun onto Carrier. Ruler's still there, though, and does have a lot of damage. As the flash forward, and Ruler will find it, dashes after the Corki, and there is first blood, but it's for the Yunara.
Yeah, the Yunara ends up getting the huge value out of the level 6 spike. You're not going to have that as the Corki hits the slow there onto Guma. Guma down barrier from the previous exchange, has to flash, but Ruler has the follow flash and takes him out. Canyon going to take this prio opportunity to start up grubs, grabs the first one. Any grub you can get for this Camille side lane is going to feel fantastic, and it looks like they might just get all 3.
Yep, Canyon will be able to at least grab 2 of them with the help of Ruler, who does pick up a bit of extra money for that one. So far here for Gen.G, things going exactly the way that they want them to. Money is where it's supposed to be. Chovy's health bar not looking fantastic here, but he is just going to Justice Punch his way through the minions, get himself back to base. And being a wave behind is absolutely fine here for the Galio. Still hoping that he finds some more impact later into the game.
Look at this calculation here from Ruler, knowing he's going to hit 6 off this minion. Goes for the dash forward first. That cooldown is bleeding, right? And he goes for this arc here, grabs the slow, forces the flash, gets his dash back at the last possible second. Dashed first, he gets it right at the end, and that's what is able to close the gap there on that Corki to secure the kill.
I do love as well that as the Keeper's Verdict comes out and Ruler is just knocked away, yeah, well, Braum is just, okay, we've got a little bit more of an engage here towards the bottom side. As now Ruler may immediately get punished, does have the barrier, some sidesteps come through, public execution, and he puts Ruler down. Duro not able to find the Winter's Bite this time. The immediate answer comes on through, and this time around, Ruler not quite as okay as he was indicating in that replay.
That's going to be a big swing of gold back here to T1, putting them in the lead here as Doran picks up his first kill of the game. Now, he does have teleport as well, and will be able to come answer this top wave. If he didn't, this would have been a costly endeavor. There's still going to be Keen getting a little bit of damage done to this turret because he has 3 grubs. Not enough to actually grab the plate on this wave, but that was a great moment there, very calculated by Doran. Knows he could TP to patch that whole top side as Guma is heading back down to the bottom lane. Yeah, take the Yunara out. You can see on the mini-map here as well, they're already prepping that swap back. So Doran wants to find an all-in here with Keria before he goes to the top lane with his teleport. And Ruler plays this well, actually, with his ultimate, but Doran is just so quick to snap him up with his R button right as he dashes away.
Yeah, just waiting for the dash, knew exactly what was going to happen. And of course, as soon as that one's down, public execution is too easy.
Now, Ruler flashless, of course, after the previous exchange topside. He knows there's no way to dodge it.
Very nicely done. Bit of a Venn diagram here displayed between Keria and Chovy, but not too much more than that. As Gumayushi doesn't quite find that rocket. Slurkle connects though here from Ruler, who is still frightening, although he did just miss a cannon. That doesn't feel great. Ona making his way in though. There's the flash out of the shockwave. Very nicely done there from Chovy, but still a big cooldown invested. T1 successful gank in the mid lane.
That was very impressively played by Chovy. Still has to flash, but does not lose his life. And down here on the bottom side, we continue to zoom in on it because there's always, with Yunara, there's always an all-in angle.
Yep.
And our observers are very aware of it. Also, Vi on the bottom side, Canyon surfing around here as they clear this vision away. He is still unseen. Doesn't like they're going to be able to punish this flashless Corki. Instead, we'll turn their eyes towards the dragon first.
Yeah, looking like second dragon going to get picked up here by Gen.G unless there's something that T1 can do about it. Chovy looking a little worse for wear, which might make this a little bit more dangerous, but with Ona not in the area, just finishes the Sundered Sky, but Canyon already had that one in his back pocket, so feeling pretty good, and utilizing that Sundered Sky window to grab the Drake. So that is going to be 2 objectives taken here by Gen.G, just one more to lock down that portion of the feats of strength, and there it is, guys. It's
wow.
It's Earth, Wind, and Fire value here. We're chasing the clouds away. It's a Cloud Salt here in game number 1. Sometimes, you know, your faith does get rewarded, and it just feels fantastic.
Atlas is from the future. Or he just wills Cloud Souls, or both. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just a fan. Anyway, Keen and Doran doing battle here towards his top side. Duro picks his moment to come in, but it looks like Doran will be absolutely fine. And we'll just be able to shove this wave in as much as he would like. The fact that he did get that extra kill, though, a big deal, because it's going to take a long time for Keen to get to that point where he can stand toe-to-toe with the Ambessa if Doran continues to have a performance like this on the best champion that he's had this year, I think.
Yeah, it feels like the jungler of Gen.G in this game is Duro, because he's constantly going around the map as support, roaming and trying to find value for Ruler or for Keen in this game, whereas Canyon has just been hard farming and hasn't been involved really in all too much this game. And it's really interesting to see how that roaming support can get high value, especially when you have the Camille set up for the Braum. Really powerful there, but Doran reads it well. He's got a bunch of dashes. Duro's not going to flash for that one. And we reset back to a quieter game state here once again, as now do see the 80 carries start to head towards this mid lane.
Yeah.
And the side lanes begin a very, very close start to this series. We've had a lot of blowout games this playoffs, but this looks like it's not going to be one of them.
Yeah, not a lot of funny business happening in this one, as Chovy does avoid the dissonance quite nicely there. Now phase rushing after Faker finds the Colossal Smash and looking pretty good on this Galio thus far. Still has a fair bit of health bar to get through, but does have that first item completion, a whole bunch of extra tankiness here for Chovy.
Yeah, he's still down his flash, but you know, not going to be too impactful in this side lane unless a gank does happen. And it's a lot of caution, I think, that both teams are showing right now. We're not seeing a lot of heavy commitment from junglers to ganks or big skirmishes just now, and since there's no objective up, well, maybe I spoke too soon. Owner has control vision here.
Yeah, looking for a little bit of a window, perhaps, as Gumayusi on the Cloud Rift Super Runny Fast Patch. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, something like that.
It's not a circle. It's a fast call. A very big circle.
It's a ground cloud.
Yeah, there it is. But it's also a speed up.
Yeah, I don't know how to like,
because like you've been up a mountain, right? And you're in the clouds. I don't go faster. I just feel a bit wet.
Yeah.
You know, that's sort of what happens. So I'm a bit confused as to why it happens the way that it happens, but I prefer not to question it.
The champions just turn into like their planes zooming.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I like, even if that's not true, that's the way I'm going to think about it from now on, is Doran finding a little bit of harass here against Keen, but it looks like things are going to go okay now that Trinity Force has been put together. Ruler fighting against two. He's feeling a bit strong, I could imagine.
Every time he presses Q, you need to get away from him.
Yes.
And you can see he has a somewhat hefty gold lead over his opposition here, but it's the top lane where T1 shore up that advantage. They have a technical gold lead themselves, like overall here with the lead that Faker has over Chovy. But I think all these things don't really matter that much. We're sitting at a 1-to-1 Drake game here, no double dragon, very, very even stakes. It's going to be that first team fight, that first skirmish that we're going to see around this Herald right now that is going to blow this game wide open.
Yeah, I think this moment is going to be incredibly pivotal, or a team just handshakes, and then we just don't know yet. But I think the first team fight, whenever it happens, is going to really tell us a lot here as Canyon looking to clear out some vision.
Uma wanted to back, I think, but there's just no time. He's down items here on components here to Ruler. And remember, for T1, you want to win the fight instantly here. Blow up a single member, then you can clean up. But if Ruler's the last man standing, you've completely lost it.
Ooh, bit of Slurkle value here as Keen finding a good trade against Doran. The health bars of these top laners actually does play a factor as they both have teleport. We're going to try and make their way up. And Chovy and Faker will be still ping-ponging some waves here. The Rift Herald now down to about 4,000 as Gumayusi Carrier in the area. A bit of a rotation down. The Keeper's Verdict comes through, but it's immediately buffered by the ulti from Canyon. And the heroic entrance comes down there as well. Justice Punch, fantastic. But the Yunara is dead. They've taken down the Poppy, but that is not enough value. And Keen will be wiped out as well. Doran continues the fight. This guy's Ambessa is absolutely absurd as he picks up the triple. Can it be the Quadra? He's tanking up the turret, and he will allow Ona to pick up the kill, although Chovy may not. So he's just going to get himself out of there, but he is the last man standing.
He's the only one alive on the side of Gen.G, and like I said, this fight's going to blow the game open. T1 with flying colors take the fight here as Gen.G are set up to secure Herald. T1 are set up to fight. And look at the buffer there. It's fantastic. The ultimate does come out here, but when you look at what happens next, the Yunara is actually caught. Doran gets into the backline,
value.
And the shockwave is massive. And once that the Yunara is down, you just don't have damage. Whereas T1 have a Corki, and the real damage dealer of this skirmish is the Ambessa. Doran just runs them down. Chovy with an impressive escape here, does have phase rush and will get the hell out of there. But he is the only one surviving that fight. T1, massive win.
Yeah, Doran is now a huge problem for Gen.G. 4-0-1, 1.7k gold lead just for himself. And the first Cloud Drake will go over to T1 here. That'll be their prize.
Cloud Drake, arguably, I mean, if there's an Ambessa in this game, I'd argue the Cloud Drake is higher value for Gen.G even individually because of the melees they have and how reliant they are on them, and the movement speed would be so beneficial. So even each individual Drake Gen.G doesn't pick up really hurts how this composition could have otherwise functioned here. T1 with one more big win on top of the skirmish on the top side.
Yeah, it's absolutely massive as Faker will pick up this wave. The Chovy shoved towards this top lane. Runan's picked up here for Ruler, but does really want 3 items before he's very strong. Gumayusi still looking for item number 2, but it's 2 items that you feel great on when it comes to the Corki. So they will be feeling better and better as the next, I reckon, 10 minutes, 7 minutes perhaps goes on. And that will allow T1 to really sink their teeth into this advantage that they picked up. It is, as you look at the top of your screen, 1.6k. It's not end of the world type gold lead, but we said that the way this first team fight is going to look is really going to set the tone for how the rest of this game is going to be, and T1 looked pretty good.
As T1, you could play through shutting down this Camille side lane win con because yes, she has grubs, but your Ambessa is just so much more powerful. and is going to be hitting big spikes early in this game with the gold that Doran just picked up. So they're going to actually look to gank Doran himself.
Yeah, looking for a bit of an angle here. Hextech Ultimatum comes down. Public Execution comes in as Carrier is going to evict the Camille. And now it's only Canyon and Duro that are down here underneath this turret. And Doran once again is going to survive.
Doesn't even have to flash in the exchange. Carrier getting huge value out of the Keeper's Verdict there to save the play. Now Owner's here and Duro's left alone.
Yep, he's going to put down the door. Tries to flash his way out, but there's a teleport coming in. Ulti from Duro coming on through here, and I think they know that this Braum is dead. Keen still going to go in, but Faker's teleport. Now Keen is in so much trouble. Ruler comes down, protects with a Swirkle. And that is going to be it. Oh, never mind the edge of the Shockwave, and it's a double kill for Faker on this Orianna.
Saves the ultimate for so long, knows he doesn't need it for the initial kill, and then finally is able to lock down Keen on the edge with the Shockwave, takes him out there, and T1 now poised to take this mid-turret, are running away with game one of the series.
Yep, you've got Chovy now rotating down, but that will be feats of strength. Oh, never mind. Gen.G did lock down feats of strength by taking the top outer turret while we were speaking. But still, being able to break open the mid lane, a huge deal. Chovy now lying in wait in this brush. And we'll see whether he can at least stop the back here, and he does. Canyon moves over, though, as Owner is in perhaps a bit of trouble, but he does want to brawl. As we can see, Ruler's still doing a fair bit. But the problem is I feel like T1 showed it in that team fight. They can just say that Ruler's dead and he will die.
Yeah, 100%. And this, like, Doran's ability to absorb pressure has been iconic for him as a player across his career. You know, on all three teams he's recently been a part of, right? And you consider he draws them all in, then they stick around way too long here. Owner shows up, and then you have this teleport from Faker with this really deep ward that's in the brush. Doesn't Shockwave here, even though it was a possibility he could have catch Keen. He's like, nah, not gonna go for that one. Waits till the possibility of the flash of the Shockwave is gone. Gets the flash here. Keen has no recourse, no way out. Catches him on the end, picks up the double.
Yeah, and right on the very edge of that that Shockwave range as well. Absolutely fantastically done there by the GOAT. And that's going to move them to about a 2.5k gold advantage here at 21.5 minutes into the game. T1 really getting this snowball rolling down the hill in the first game. And we do need to say, like, Gen.G, they had side selection moving into this first game. They chose blue side. T1 winning on red here in game one would be a huge deal, especially when the Yunara is invested, when Chovy's Galio, his undefeated Galio, is invested. There is a lot of those fearless bucks that they've used in this first game.
Now, in defense of the game state for Gen.G, they still have this Yunara that's heading towards 3 items. They still have incredible setup for it. Even though this Camille is now practically made of paper, she will still have the ability to ult with Galio when Chovy goes in on top of Gumayusi. And if Ruler is able to have, with all this front line, that may even just be taken out by a Shockwave relatively quickly, if he's able to get into a game state where he can front to back, with 3 items, this gold lead 2.4k here for T1 is not enough to say this game is finished, but if they can control the map with the tempo they have right now, continue to stack these dragons, and Gen.G never gets that fair fight, T1 are feeling great about their position, and I think they should.
Yep. Ravenous Hydra is now done here for Keen, but I don't think it's going to be enough to deter Doran in a side lane for now. As you can see, he already had his 2 items completed. Some cheeky cloth armors there as well. And Cloud Drake, this would be sole point for T1 if they're able to lock this one down, and it has been started already. Full information over to Gen.G, but what can they do about it is going to be the question.
They just have to give it up. They have that control vision in the pit, and they're just very aware that this is not going to be a possibility for them, and they're just going to instead try to look for a collapse on the Doran, but look at how much defensive vision he has here. He's just going to completely let this wave push in. He's going to back away, and it will be just a Scuttle Crab in exchange here for Gen.G. Give it to Ruler. He picks up 100 gold off of that, and starting Otacon is a risky endeavor, but they're going to try it. They're going to try to pull T1 in. They are going to get Faker's teleport for this.
Yep, that's what they're looking for here, I guess, is the teleport. He's going to come on through. Keen finds the hookshot angle. There's a Hextech Ultimatum. He delivers the Gargoyle on top. Gumayusi taken down immediately. Now Carrier is going to turn up. His owner with that Crescent Guard is looking for Keen and will be able to find him. It's a 1-for-1 AD carry for top lane, but T1 still looking for more in the 4v4. Carrier dives forward, but Duro's able to get himself out of there with all of his summoner spells. And I don't know whether this works for Gen.G because they gave up a Drake and then went 1-1 in a fight.
Yeah, they went 1-1 in the fight. Duro loses his flash on the exchange there as Doran is able to force it with an ult there. But at the end of the day, the start was great. Like, this concept of pulling Faker's TP in and then collapsing onto Guma is exactly how this composition can work, because the Orianna isn't that strong alone, but the teleport angle from Faker is actually so threatening. It's hard for Gen.G to then force a chase. Chovy looks for the taunt, doesn't find it here. Keen is taken out in the outset, and then Duro here forced to flash. So at the end of the day, good start on the play there, but the teleport angle from Faker, I think, really threw Gen.G off, and they just had to retreat. Now T1 in Otacon control.
Yeah, Canyon is just on the Krugs and Keen's in the bottom lane. So this Otacon is it just belongs to T1, and Gen.G are not going to contest. So dropping the ball a little bit when it comes to being able to hold on to these objectives here. And T1 can also then augment that with this outer turret. Gen.G just bleeding all over the place. Haven't been able to find a team fight that works for them. I felt like their coordination a bit off in that last fight as well. Noticed the second time around that Canyon threw his ult onto a corpse. Because, of course, Gumayushi was very dead prior to that one working. So he was sort of on his way in there, and then it sort of fizzled out. So he didn't have the access to that for the next target in the fight.
T1, I believe, had like 3 or 4 petals before that Otacon. They're at 14 to okay, it's 4. I got the confirmation.
Thanks, Jason.
Gen.G's 12 here, so it's not like the most high value of all time Otacon takes here for T1, but it's just one more thing in their list of objectives they have. The grubs that Keen picked up have been very irrelevant in this game thus far. See, he got a little bit of side lane pressure here, but isn't able to touch the turret. Still a playable game here for Gen.G. The gold lead hasn't really changed, but the map control is still 100% T1's.
Yep.
This could be an angle.
Possibility, as Ruler is still very, very strong. Going for Lord Dom's third here, because feeling a bit of a pinch, especially with the fact that there are some armor items being built up here by Doran. A little bit, a smattering, but it's just sort of base armor that is going to make that item feel pretty valuable.
Yeah, cut through that Zhonya's value there.
Yeah, there you go. That's armor. That counts.
Does count. I think that for Gen.G, your best bet is to all in on this next fight. And hopefully, if you're a Gen.G fan, you're hoping that Ruler gets that LDR before this dragon does spawn. It's going to be pretty close, whether he picks it up or not. He is backing right now. We'll see if he does end up securing that. Because this is the fight you can turn the game around on. You do have flashes back up on everybody but Duro. You have Canyon, Chovy, Keen to lock down Guma before the fight starts. If you can set up vision, even dropping a wave to set that vision up feels fantastic. Mortal Reminder picked up here for Ruler on that third item actually instead of the LDR, which makes sense in this draft. He's got that now. 3-item spike is hit. This is where it's do or die for Gen.G. This is your last real big team fight here. You win this fight, you can maybe even turn it into a Baron. Oh no, Duro!
Yeah, Duro's going to get caught out, not stunned up by the heroic charge. That is a big deal. Ruler was there with Slurkle support, which does allow him to get himself to safety. Keen trying to pick up this wave in the side. And you can see Canyon makes his way back. We'll see what he can actually purchase here, as there are 40 seconds until this Cloud Drake. Chovy level 15, wanting to hit that extra level if he can. Don't know whether he's going to be able to. Oh, he's so incredibly close. He will hit level 16. There it is.
Okay. This is it, but unfortunately for Gen.G, because Duro was caught there, they had to play defensive around and they don't get any vision on Dragon. They're actually setting their eyes here on this Baron instead first, try to draw T1 in.
Death's Dance completed here for Doran as well. He is so a full item ahead of Keen.
And, you look at Chovy's items here, he's gone for the utility of that arm guard. It's all Ruler. It's Ruler or bust in this team fight. That is all that matters, is does Ruler get it done? Can you set him up? And T1...
Soul for Baron.
Yeah, T1 need to pivot over to this Baron.
Well, I mean, Soul is going to be pretty important as well, but Gen.G, they are doing a fair bit of damage to this one, looking to clear out vision as well as Chovy slinks back into the fog of war. T1 is still very dangerous, though, as Keen looking to rotate up. And they have vision that this dragon is not being taken. This is going to need to be a turn from Gen.G. As Keen, he's just going to walk over here and look to start this one up as T1 just searching for where Gen.G went. This little runaround, this do-si-do that Gen.G did will be able to deny the soul.
That was
very
a really
cute.
high-value blue trinket here that actually identified that Doran got off the dragon. They then scried where he was and came over here while pulling T1 to the Baron. And Gen.G just quite literally ran a circle around T1, playing around vision really well. They don't have to force an awkward fight. They're all able to escape, even Canyon, who was on the wrong side of that pit, and they get the dragon. They deny it from T1, and they get some more time here before we get that big 5v5.
Maybe some tempo vibes being pulled back in the Gen.G direction. Them in general still belong to T1, absolutely, but a little bit maybe, making it feel a little bit closer. And the gold advantage is not really there for T1 anymore. Gen.G have been able to pull that one back relatively well. As you can see, 2,000 gold at 30 minutes into the game.
And the turn off of Baron is kind of awkward for T1. It's going to be so reliant.
Oh, yeah. Public execution comes down. The flash forward from Keen, and Doran gets over the wall, but Keen follows him with the ulti. Canyon comes down, but I think this would have been a solo kill for the Camille, and I'm pretty sure she's online, but the jungler was in the bottom lane.
And that means they just have to hard send it in the bottom lane and try to get as many turrets as they can. They're going for mid first, and they're going to try to get that bottom outer as well.
Yeah, the Baron comes up. The catch from the ulti out of Duro is fantastic, but the rest of the cavalry are turning up, and the outer turret is still getting worked on. Faker's still alive. Down goes Canyon as Chovy's heroic entrance doesn't look exactly like that, but Keen is still a monster. The Crescent Guard comes in from Owner, but he still goes down. Double taunt from Chovy, and the Winds of War will be able to take another one down from the grave. Faker is going to be able to shut him out, but Gen.G get rid of so many Barons.
It's only Guma's Baron that remains. They make the call to not push for that bottom inner turret, instead collapse on the teleporting Orianna. It all starts off here with Keen down an item, hitting, look at that damage on that first Q.
My
Doran
God.
then gets ulted over the wall by the Hextech ultimatum, and is just unable to compete here with this Camille. You see that Keen, or rather Canyon, shows up.
1,000 gold for Keen as well.
And then Faker's caught here, but his timing on his Zhonya's is phenomenal. Unfortunately, though, there's just so much setup here for Gen.G with all these melees, and Ruler isn't even here yet. Watch what happens when he shows up as Keen goes into the backline here. Ruler's ultimate getting so much work down, or buys some time with his ultimate, and then Chovy, the double taunt, almost escapes with his life there, and Guma's the last Baron standing. So again, Gen.G is kind of running circles around T1 on the map, utilizing this Camille pick even behind. Now only, it's actually ahead, in fact, of Doran gold-wise here. And look at the dent in the gold difference over time graph here that just hit.
And the ridiculous thing is the amount of shutdown gold that Gen.G just got from all of those kills, because it was only Guma that survived, and he was the one that was behind. He was the only one that was already behind in this game.
And like, the GA is completed, and now it's item parity for the top laner.
Yeah. And it's just kind of absurdity. I wasn't expecting to be talking about this, or the fact that it's 7-11 in kills. It's a very convenient kill score at the top side of the map. As, yeah, Gen.G looking to defend on this bottom side. Chovy will be able to push this wave in towards the inner and mid lane. But it looks like T1 want to find themselves a fight, as Keen is off on the side, that GA in hand. The double siege minions are looking difficult for Gen.G to do anything about, as Canyon charging that Vault Breaker. The engaged Braum comes in from Duro as they're looking to split these fights, but Canyon is so difficult to deal with. Doran getting into that backline though, as now Ruler's doing his best to kite him out, and the public execution is ignorable, and now Chovy finds 3. Justice for Owner, as it's a double for Canyon, and the Gen.G freight train is burning down the bottom lane as Ruler picks up his 3,000th assist, and I have a feeling the Camille's scaled in this game.
I think so. Down goes Guma. It's the full clean ace of T1. And when we go back and look at how that play started, I think a lot of it is Doran late on the TP. He thinks that T1 is still safe without him, and they're surely the engaged problem won't do T1. We're safe. They're safe to continue to siege and push. They have the double cannons. But look at where Doran is on the map. I think if you want to play this far up and play around your double cannons, you just got to bring your Ambessa. Instead, they decide to 4-1 it. And Gen.G are like, no, you stepped both carries forward. Yeah, both carries caught. Your Faker first, and then look at Ruler's damage here. Doran shows up, and he's just shredded immediately as they try to buy time for the rest of T1 to get out. But Keen gets in the back line with Chovy, has GA, so it's not even a sacrifice of the Camille. And when you have this Yunara in the late game, okay, sure, he hit 3,000 assists, but they are assisting him. He is the main character of this draft. And Gun will be the last to fall. And T1 now incredibly far behind in this game.
Yeah, the problem is that Gen.G have kind of hit the things that they needed to. GA back again here for Keen. There is another one now on Canyon at the same time. And T1, there is still Cloud Soul available for them if they can lock this one down, but things are looking so much more difficult. All of the ultimates still there here as Gen.G look to see what they can do. T1 still formidable, still scary as the Slurkle comes in. Keen just halving the health bar of Ona as he dashes on top, but it's not a full commit here from Gen.G. They're making sure they have the vision. They are still respecting what T1's going to be capable of.
So hard to get something done with Shockwave here when they have choke point control. Banana Brush, they're constantly trying to put control words in it, but just feeding them to Gen.G as they're cleared out repeatedly. This means Faker just doesn't have any agency, and I think that T1 are just going to have to give this up.
What is the Galio poke? What the heck was that about?
Big damage.
It's actually doing a fair bit of work. Here's Keen, finds the angle. He gets on top of Ona, but it's Ruler's damage that we need to be wary of. And he takes down Doran. The Crescent Guard comes in, but Chovy just says, no, you're not allowed to engage. Duro and Canyon dealing with Ona off to the side, and the rest of the fight is going to be there as Keen gets out of the way of Faker, and Faker will overextend, unfortunately. Chovy able to take that one down. Steadfast presence just doesn't feel very steadfast at this stage of the game, and Gen.G just think, nah, it's not really about the Dragon when we can kill a Nexus and take game one.
Yeah, I think the eyes were for Dragon. T1 get caught by the Keen flank, and their eyes are now for Nexus. Is Keen so far behind this game? How many games is this guy going to be? Like, remember, his game was 1-4 on Gwen, and just pops off later. This guy is taken over.
Well, Carrier now trying to be a hero, but that charge ain't going to work. Guma just dies in the blink of an eye, and the Nexus will explode. Gen.G looked. They gave up so much in this game. They looked down and out and are able to turn it around and pick up game one in this best of 5. And if all the games are like this, I might die.
I think that Wadid is going to have a lot to say about that 70% of The weak cons for T1 were there. They were a lot more narrow, though, and they had control. And when you constantly have control, when you're able to shut that Camille down, you just hold on to it. I felt like, okay, T1's got enough pressure here that they will win every subsequent fight with the vision control they have. But all it takes is one mess up. All it takes is that incredible moment there where the near solo kill comes through, and then Camille gets a little bit more online. They get so much gold. Also, their wraparounds, like the fake out with the Dragon or the Baron, and then they go to Dragon while T1 drops Dragon, then comes to Baron. These moments just bought Gen.G enough time for Ruler to become the Fountain Laser, the god tier game. With the cost of her 2 items reduced massively, you know, she does spike quite early, and she can win those early skirmishes quite well, especially when you're playing into an MF. If you can get that access, you have the Jhin, you have all the setup, it can work. It just has not worked in our region, and I'm worried about what happens if we go to an even game state, or even worse, if Gen.G are behind. T1 just have so many win cons in this draft.
Yep, they certainly do, and it just feels like it's a little bit easier to navigate with a draft like what T1 have put together. If you go back and look at what Gen.G had last time around, it was pile-in lockdown. It was Camille, Galio, and a hypercarry. We've seen these compositions so many times. That's what T1 kind of has this time around. Plus, they have that coveted Jarvan that is so incredibly good at winning, and on the other side, it's the Kiana. It hasn't won yet here in the LCK. Let's get onto the Rift.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for game number 2. And all we want is for every single game to be like game 1. That would be great. I'd like alternating winners each time until game 5, in which case anyone can win. It's fine. We just need 5.
Well, Atlas,
that would be the best.
I think if you're the Kiana team, you're hoping it's not like game 1, because if you're falling behind with this draft, It's not as easy to get back into the thick of things. And my personal take, we've talked about this a little bit on the space as to why Qiyana is not doing as well in the LCK, is because the LCK is such a calculated region where team fights are often decided before they break out based on numbers, based on who's got vision control, based on who's set up to engage and who's not. So it's hard to just scrap with Qiyana. We saw... this could be a trap.
Yeah, Duro is in a lot of trouble. The headbutt pushes him back as he gets the stun onto Gumayusi, but even though he's not going to die or use Flash, it is kind of massive because these minions are already here, and the Leona already doesn't have very much health bar.
Another one
walks out.
No, not going to actually look for anything with this. And the Qiyana, I think we saw like one good Qiyana ultimate this whole playoffs. Right?
I think Raptor had some good games, or a good game. He didn't win, but it looked like he went 3-0 at the beginning. Very Raptor-esque, of course. As Ruler is...
The game I'm thinking of is the game where Owner played Qiyana and to Hanwha Esports in the Smolder game, and they won that first team fight on Grubs, and he had phenomenal ult. They split the team in half. And those are the kind of scrappy fights you don't get too often in the LCK, so it's hard to generate a lead. It is going to be Electrocute here for Canyon, not First Strike. We've seen both different runes here to try to generate gold with the First Strike, but the burst damage that Electrocute gives you, I think, is just far superior, and I think we've seen a big pivot across the LCK towards that. His owner is
the level
3 Jarvan.
That's a bit scary. Hebapolv does bring Carrier in there as we started off the fight. Gen.G get the information, but I don't know whether it's going to be enough as the flash out from Duro. The flash forward, the sidestep is not good enough, and that is first blood. The Jarvan just gets it done every game.
It's crazy what Jarvan can accomplish at level 3, one of the strongest junglers at this, and
the wave state is doomed right now.
It's actually unplayable, and Ruler, he's not going to have, like, even if Canyon tries to come down here and support, it'll mess up his farm, by the way, which he needs so desperately, and I don't know if he's really going to be able to fix this, so yeah, this is also the losses that we have. 4 games at Qiyana, she's 0-4. That Owner game, he had that fantastic ult early, but they got outscaled by the Smolder. I think that was the best. Jarvan, by the way, he's kind of winning.
Yeah, he's doing the other thing.
Remember that Raptor game? Remember that Cuz game? Remember that Owner game? Yeah, there's a lot of really good games with Jarvan in playoffs.
Yeah, he did get a pentakill. And it was the guy that's playing it right now that got said pentakill. I was really expecting the Jarvan to be the highest priority ban for Gen.G. Obviously now, you know, they're not going to have to worry about it for the rest of the series. They already have a 1-game buffer in this one. There are reasons to let it go through and let things happen, but I'm still a little bit concerned. Every loss is dangerous, and T1, when they get momentum, are such a scary team. It is a big risk to be taking. But let's just see, as this is Gen.G, right? They are pretty good at knowing how to win. They've been doing a lot of it this year.
They certainly have. Canyon going to go over here with the ward he has and actually start to steal some of these camps away. This is a great way to play the Qiyana. It's just hard farm. Don't interact with lanes.
Oh, God.
Not again.
Bottom lane getting absolutely punished. The teleport in from Faker towards his bottom side. As Gumayusi does have to flash, as Deadly Flourish will be avoided. The fourth shot not going to be enough, and he just reloads at him and dies.
And that's another huge win here for T1, set up by Keria once again on the bottom side with this Alistar pick. He picked it up early, it was blind, and it has gotten insane value here in this game already. And you know what, cross-map-wise, like, got some Raptors for Canyon on the Qiyana, but otherwise not able to impact the play here. Obviously the top side, Aatrox's favorite as well. And like, Duro's just trying to hold this wave, and Keria says no, at least I'll take 1 minion away.
He is at least able to hold the majority, so that is something. And Faker did give up a fair bit. You can see it's 44-26 in the mid lane. That's why we don't see a complete ballooning of the gold. But, I mean, if at first you succeed, try again, I think is the saying. That's how it works, right? As Gen.G do have vision, so they know that Owner's here. They know that he's being rude and just camping their lane over and over again. But there's not a whole lot they can do about it. Doran turns up towards his bottom side, and they don't quite manage to get the crash.
No, not quite. There's going to be a big discrepancy in farm if this continues, obviously, where the Qiyana will start to really pull ahead in terms of that farm. But with the impacts we've seen already from this Jarvan, might not matter. This is just another great play from Keria. As you mentioned, kind of out of bullets.
Yeah.
Not hit the target he was looking for there. And that's a kill over to Guma. As Chobi's going to drop a bear.
Yeah, bear does fall down onto Faker here. Drop bears are real. We have confirmation. And Carrier comes over, Cal versus Bear, but it looks like Tibbers is going to be taken care of here. Good range knowledge by Chovy.
You have the advantage in the bottom 2v2. You have the Aatrox winning the lane into the Scion and the pressure there. Almost a stopped back there onto Ruler as well. And the early tempo lead that T1 holds right now is pretty massive.
Oh, Dura making his way over here as Carrier and Faker are just losing this 3v2 in the mid lane, including Tibbers, of course.
You know, Guma doesn't need Carrier to be topside if he's just going to push a free wave in. It took Ruler so long to get out of that bottom lane. He's going to miss a few minions here on the top side, and the lead for Guma continues to be there. And so, yes, that was a really strong tempo ult from Chovy, but Carrier just kind of bails Faker out, and it doesn't necessarily really amount to all too much.
Yep, you can see that the 500 gold lead, though, that Chovy does have is mitigating a lot of the advantage that T1 put together. It was about 800 before, now it's only 300 as far as the advantage is concerned. One away from Feats of Warfare, though, as we are still yet to see this Hextech Dragon go down. Second game in a row with a Hextech as Dragon #1. I do think that we should get Infernal Mountain Cloud at least once today. Because it is the 21st of September and it's very important to me that we do honor that. But that's okay. Maybe we can just groove tonight. It's fine. As Keen and Doran doing battle against one another. Keen kind of just getting thrown around like a ragdoll and does have the Bramble Vest, so feels pretty good about that.
Yeah, he does. At the end of the day, Doran's still going to put some pressure on him here and is actually looking to heal up a little bit and continue to do so. No jungler to impact this bottom lane. As we trade again, Doran...
It does feel like Doran has to work so much harder to do stuff.
It really does, and I think that's 100% accurate. But he's trying to get cookies out.
He is still doing stuff.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. As the Roar of the Slayer does come on down, Canyon moving in as the flash comes out. The flash to follow, but Canyon misses the stun. And Doran's able to get out. Man, his early navigation of ganks has been so good this series.
Yeah, Canyon with a bit of a whiff there, commits his flash as well. And, you know, it's just a free escape there from Doran. It still will lead, though, to Canyon being able to pick up this first dragon here on the bottom side of the map. See, Owner is rotating around here, grabbed first grub, and is now actually looking to try to take Ruler out of the picture here. Has Cataclysm.
Yep, Carrier is going to ult early, picks up the aggro, and the barrier not quite going to be enough there, as there are Feats of Warfare picked up, as Faker in a little bit of trouble here, trying to rotate up to help out, as Molten Shield from Chovy comes in. Oh, the final auto is not enough to lock down the kill. He was almost a cool guy not looking at an explosion, but instead, there was no explosion.
Yeah, calculated, I suppose you could say, from Faker there. Gets away, but it's still a successful play there on the top side. Great aggro setup. The kill goes over to Owner ultimately in the end. That last tick of damage from Guma does not actually get the kill, but I think Owner kind of likes taking the kills in this situation. I don't think they feel too bad about it. We've seen what this guy could do with Jarvan. Ruler tries to get back away from the turret here. The aggro is already picked up, though, by Carrier. He's taken out by Owner with the Cataclysm. He's just a sitting duck in this scenario. See, the ulting Scion comes over to try to patch the hole. Faker does get caught, though, on rotation.
Yeah,
Realm Warp denied.
Tried to get in there, was unable to do so. It did cost Chovy his flash to make it happen, as Phase Rush is broken.
Yeah, it's crazy. He still gets out. Like, when I watch this replay, I'm like, are we sure he gets out? Does just barely get away.
Didn't quite have the electrocute back, I guess. So just wasn't quite enough damage there from Chovy. Little unfortunate. Not end of the world or anything like that here for Gen.G thus far, but...
Umbral Glaive start here for Canyon, by the way. That is not normal.
That is not what we have been seeing.
Axiomark and Profane Hydra has been the build with the reduced cost on both items. You kind of save 600 gold from what you used to, and
Umbral Glaive is just such an incredible utility item.
It really is. And if you're trying to control the map and constantly control tempo, first of all, it's not going so well so far, but like at least I could maybe help you get back in it. It's a relatively cheap item as well, the Umbral Glaive, and pretty stat efficient for its cost. But yeah, we just keep dropping bears.
Yep. And Roller tried to go for the invisible Deadly Flourish. Doesn't quite work out there. As Doran, this time with no flash, and he is just dead. That was a supreme display of nothing that he could have done about it.
Yep. And that's a good Kiana ult. Okay.
Yeah. Nailing the first one. There we go.
1 for 1 so far, and that's putting her a little bit further accelerated in this game.
As there's the Cataclysm onto Chovy. Remember, he used that flash earlier on. He's trying to get Tibbers to get some value here, but it's just not going to work out. That's a very strong Jarvan to take down the Annie. Canyon a little bit slow, picking this one up. They'll take themselves the plate, and Canyon will be able to clear out these minions. I mean, but it's still looking good for T1.
A third kill, gets Tibbers, gets a plate. So yes, Canyon had the successful play there on the top side, but this was a big win for the side of T1. Faker gets the assist, gets a little bit of plate gold as well. That gold deficit shrunk massively after Chovy is shoved out of this lane. And, you know, another successful move here by Owner. Sees the opportunity with Canyon there deep on the top side to find an angle. Knows the flash is down. Looks like a back was stopped here, I believe.
Yep, another back interrupted. Nicely done. So we're going to check this one out one more time.
And look at where Owner is right now, by the way. He's just a little bit too far away to actually save Doran, and then he just runs straight to the mid lane as fast as he can. And Chovy underestimates his engage range here. Look at how far back Chovy was, still not far back enough. And he was trying to let the wave push into him, but ends up dying because it's a cannon wave to grab the plate as well on top of it.
And it just shows picking the Annie into the Jarvan is a risk, because he can just press R on you.
Again!
As, another bear comes down and another knock-up comes on through here from Owner as Chovy. Just free food for Faker. That's 5-1 in advantage here for T1.
And your
0-1 for Owner.
Your big gold lead is just completely gone now. And now it's a lead for Faker in the mid lane. And this Jarvan, once again, I mean, you said it. We thought we'd see this one banned pretty much every game. Incredible that in this best of 5, Owner's able to get his hands on it, and he is just making such a huge impact once again. This immobile, flashless Annie in the mid lane.
And it's not like they have like the Yunara from last game to bail them out, right? It's a Jhin, it's a utility pick in the bottom lane for Ruler.
Exactly.
He is not going to be that secondary carry. So much was on Chovy's shoulders already, and Annie was already a little bit more of a utility pickup, right? Like this game is now resting on Canyon's shoulders to get this work done.
And I just don't think he can in this game anymore. And like, it's a lead for Keen on Sion. You know, that's something.
There you go.
Right? But where's the damage going to be? That's the big question, as Faker's going to get stronger and stronger as this game goes on. And like,
I've seen this one before, as Chovy didn't have flash, but is able to walk his way out of it this time around. They're now looking for Duro, who does have a blast cone to help him out.
I don't know if that Faker will really miss that realm more before this upcoming fight, because they have full prio, but a bit of a whiff.
Another bear comes down here as the Rune Prison comes on in. Owner moving back though, so Canyon is going to back away. Some spell flux connects, but otherwise not too much more. The flash 4, and it's going to be the bear coming down. Faker will be punished as Carrier comes on through. Owner just gets out of there though, protecting that shutdown gold. And Carrier is going to have to flash, but I just don't know whether that's going to be enough as he's running, and that is going to be able to get him to safety. Guma was just left alone though, with this bottom out of turrets.
He is going to get some plate gold here, and with this wave thinning out, I think this is going to be a trade up in terms of the turrets here for the side of T1. Canyon, of course, starts this dragon up. Owner does have flash and could look for a steal potential here. Duro's holding the gate, though, not allowing him to get in. Guma comes over, really greedy here.
Yep, that is going to be the dragon coming on through. No Xanth Blade to land here from Duro, who is a bit far up, but it isn't going to be too much of an issue. But every time Gen.G are going for something, there's someone on T1 breaking their stuff.
Exactly. So Owner doesn't go for the steal there, is unsuccessful at stopping the dragon. They walked up with the misfortune. I was a little bit worried as well. We're not done yet.
Yeah.
Okay, we should be done though, I think.
I think we are. Yeah. Can't just gonna be able to take down the Grump.
But yeah, like the bottom turret goes over. Feats of Strength get picked up here by T1, and then Doran smacks the turret and takes 2/3 of its health bar away with the grubs that he has in the ensuing play. Initially here, Faker is totally fine, right? Does have his flash available. The combo comes out from Chovy, he just walks away. But then here, walking back up with Owner, bit of a bridge too far, I think, on this one, as Duro is also here, and it's a big stun from Chovy. Bit greedy here on the side of T1's mid laner.
Yeah.
They've just walked towards the dragon to look for a setup play instead. Punished by Chovy. But then, you know, the misfortune in the bottom lane picks up a ton of gold. Aatrox gets some serious work done on the top side, and T1 are set up for this Herald now.
And this is going to be a difficult one for Gen.G to contest. Deadly Flourish onto Carrier, but he's not too worried about that. Has the Unbreakable Will, as now Canyon looking for an angle. He's getting in amongst it. The curtains have been called as he flashes out of the way of the Cataclysm. Duro going down very low. Gumayushi doing so much work. T1's health bars are getting lower. Keen right in amongst it, but Chovy not quite doing enough. Ruler just getting soloed out by Doran, and he will be able to finish that one off. Chovy in the back of the pit is just dead to the bullets of Guma, and T1 are just running the rift outside of Keen, being quite frustrating, but he'll be zombified and taken out himself. A monstrous win here for T1.
A very haphazard setup from Gen.G as well. When we watch the replay, I want everyone to watch Canyon's ultimate as he goes in onto Faker. Like, this Qiyana pick is 2-0 on 2 items and is just not able to get anything done in this team fight. Guma's untouched, massive value with his ultimate, and then just his straight up auto attacks do a ton of work here. He's 3,000 gold ahead now of Ruler. Watch this angle onto Faker Qiyana finds. He's like, oh, carry in the backline, I've got him. Faker's just like, I'm not really that interested, actually.
Yeah.
That's the best you got?
And if you don't hit terrain, it just doesn't feel like it does very much of anything at all.
Ruler doesn't have access to follow up, so now the fight is just completely split. Doran isolates and kills the 80 carry by himself, while the other side of the fight is a complete wash. And this is why, to me, the LCK setups are just too strong for the Qiyana pick to work. Why we're seeing it, in my mind, continue to fail. As you don't have a great target there, you don't have otherwise great CC or lockdown. The Jarvan setup, he's got tons of mobility, great CC. Now as Sundered Sky's had it for a long time, and Owner is super fed in this game, and they're gonna get this mid turret. T1's 3rd turret of the game.
Man, look at all those Banelings. It's a lot of devastation here being provided by T1. 5,000 gold is the lead as Carrier is going to interrupt a Q. That was pretty cute. Gets a headbutt onto Keen here at the same time, who does ult to get himself out of the way. Carrier taking a fair bit of damage, but it's another charge from Shelly.
Yeah, maybe if he hit the turret, it could have been a little bit more high value. As Qiyana, 1v1.
Yep, I'm not against Doran. That is not going to work as he does break the chains this time around. But yeah, Doran is so scary on this Aatrox right now. Level 12 and 2-1-0. He's got a little bit of a gold advantage against the Scion now as well, as Duro is dead. Faker Realm Warps in, but it is just going to be the kill going over to Owner. And, I mean, this is much worse than the gold lead that T1 had in the first game.
Yeah, in the first game, it surfed around like 1,500 for a while, got up to like 2,400, and it was a lot of win cons for Gen.G that were kind of sitting in the incubator, right? Like that Ruler late game, Yunara was brewing, the side laning Camille was there. In this draft, you got a 2-0 Qiyana that looks invisible, and you have a Jhin that's 0-3 and 3,000 gold behind, but I don't know if the Scion or the Annie is really going to patch those holes, and it's a lead in gold, but it's also a massive tempo lead, and there's just so many more win cons in this draft for T1 than they had last time. They've got the Realm Warp, they've got the side lane angle, they've got triple grubs they've been utilizing incredibly well in this game, really from their 80 carry as well as their solo laners this game, and Gen.G are just so far behind the 8 ball. Like, Duro keeps getting caught just trying to get any semblance of vision as Faker may be caught.
Well, the flash is going to come on through. Double teleports invested as Owner is going to find Canyon here. There's the headbutt over the wall. Ruler in so much trouble. Deadly Flourish goes wide and he is just dead, ladies and gentlemen. It looked like it was going to be a play from Gen.G, but T1 just turned it on its head.
Another ult from Canyon that just completely does nothing in the attempt to try to peel for his teammates there, but Carrier's flank. Chef's kiss on this Alistar, 8 out of 11 KP this game. He has run it from start to finish. The rift belongs to him and all of these fed T1 members as Faker takes a gold lead over Chovy with the destruction of that turret, and now it is all T1 colored around the map. No semblance of control for the map here outside of a small side laning Annie here for Chovy. As it looks like initially like, oh, Faker's caught, but this is the traditional Faker overextending question mark. Haha, now we win the fight, we baited you in.
Triple TP, everyone teleporting into the fight, and Carrier just takes the 80 carry, and Ruler, I mean, I don't think he started playing the game, but he's definitely not going to play the game in this one.
And has Canyon played the game in this one?
He's farmed. He has almost the most farm on his team, only losing out to Chovy, and he did have a slight lead in that department a little bit earlier on. It's kind of ridiculous. So if the game is Farming Simulator, yes, he's been playing the game.
Yeah, it is...
Oh, it's League of Legends, isn't it?
Yeah, no.
Oh, that's my bad.
Power Wash Simulator has been you know, it's been the talk of the casting team recently. Some particular casters really enjoy that one.
I mean, that's the Achilles game.
Yeah, I wasn't going to name any names, but...
have we just outed him as the Power Simulator guy?
Nothing wrong with enjoying Simulator.
I think I've never thought of him as being feeling ashamed about it.
I mean, like Canyon, I've considered Farming Simulator actually like about twice a year. I do consider to pick up Farming Simulator 2025. Like, it looks really fun. I don't know if I really have time for that, but it looks really fun.
Yeah, there's something satisfying.
I don't know if it'll make a positive impact on my life in any way. I like to play more narrative-based games. I'm playing through Metal Gear Solid right now, but...
Oh, really? Bit of a blast from the past. Oh, the newer one?
No, the old one. The PS1. You know me.
That's far more.
I play new games.
That's far more wolf. I know that there was a new one, though, that came out.
Yeah. Which is why I'm playing the first one, because I want to do 1, 2, and then hit Snake Eater. But Turret Eater is T1 down in the bottom lane. As they give Otacon up, they're going to get the Constellation turret here. They're scaling.
Yeah.
Just don't know if they should be. They're so far behind.
Oh, Deadly Flourish comes on in. It is going to be Otacon picked up by T1 very, very soon, but Gen.G are at least getting something for it.
Yeah, I mean, if they get double turret, that's a lot of gold, actually, over to Gen.G.
They will be losing this inner turret towards the top side of the map, so I don't see it necessarily being a phenomenal outcome.
It's not.
Does take this.
It's not losing the game outright by trying to fight on Otacon, so keeps them in this game. So to speak, they're still 5,000 gold behind, and it's not a trade up, but I mean, they got Chovy some money.
Yep.
That's a good thing for, you know, maybe some miraculous comeback where we see a big ult from the Kiana here from Canyon, or, you know, Chovy's able to just output so much damage in the team fight where maybe Guma is caught or Faker is caught. You got to hope for that if you're Gen.G in this game, is maybe a big overextension. We saw that error from Faker decided the game in game 1. I think it's going to take a few more of those errors to get the lead that Gen.G pulled back in that comeback in game 1 this time, but maybe they'll make a mistake, and that's what you kind of have to hope for here as Gen.G.
And Canyon is very strong, just with the amount of farm that he has picked up. The fact that he is only 300 behind Owner, who is 405 right now, is kind of mind-blowing.
It's hard to kill targets, though, when you have this Bloodthirster MF, Faker obviously going for the Seraphs in this game, and we'll probably build Zhonya's third.
Yeah, he needs the follow-up, absolutely. As all of Gen.G are grouped up, let's see whether they can actually find a target. His Owner off to the side has been spotted. Keen tanking for a long time, though, and he's not going to be starting any fights at all. Cataclysm comes down. Owner just flashes out of the way of it. It's a lot of burst damage here from the Annie, but not full commitment. And Doran turns up and says, "No, you are not allowed to fight," and they agree.
This time Doran learned from not TPing until it was too late last time, and say, "I probably just be there just in case." And you know, if they walk away, I'll just go side lane in the top lane. And look at the map. Like, if you toggled the vision for Gen.G, they can see like nothing outside of the base except Canyon dying. That's what they can see.
Canyon is the bullet. Oh, that was pretty cute. Getting the zoom in there as well, as Canyon is very close to dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's an understandable Yuumi.
Perfect KDA in this game, though.
Yeah.
Hasn't died yet.
He hasn't. You don't actually die very much in Farming Simulator, as it turns out. Not a very violent game.
Yeah,
not a violent one.
No real game over screens.
Not so much. Does have his Edge of 9 now, so 3 items complete here for the Kiana.
And the MF, top damage in the game, that's not a good sign for the team that's playing into the MF.
Yeah, I would say that we put that in the Gen.G cons column. Absolutely. Also, him having all the money, also a bad thing, I would say, for them. Definitely a good bounce back here from Gumayushi, who had a bit of a rough one in game 1.
You know, Owner's 600 gold ahead because, yeah, Canyon's been farming the jungle. He's been farming the champions.
Yeah.
And now there is no jungle for Canyon. He can't get out of his base.
Sometimes violence is a little bit more lucrative. That's what I'm learning here today. As Duro's going to face check, he has to be the one to do so, and unfortunately he's dead. Very dead. If there were certain degrees of dead, he would be one of the high degrees of dead from that one. As it turns out, I'm pretty sure it's just, you know, it's just dead or not.
So maybe this will be the last Kiana game of LCK playoffs. That's what I'm hoping for, Atlas.
No, I just don't think it is. If it's still being played now, I think it's just going to keep getting played. It just must be really fun. It must be doing a lot of good things in scrims. You know, that's what I'm expecting. But also, it's doing a lot of winning in the LPL, right? Like, we know that it can win.
In other regions where they play very differently, I think it's very strong. And I also think that with how LPL teams play, if they clash with LCK teams, they'll have a better understanding of how to utilize the pick. Unfortunately, LCK just has not figured it out yet, and
it does kind of go back to the stakes of this series as well. If the playstyles are so different between regions, it's very dangerous for either T1 or Gen.G to be playing in that play-in best of 5, because you could just travel to China and then be there for like a few games and then go home. Like, and for Gen.G or T1 to be one of those teams, that just sounds ludicrous.
One of those Chinese junglers might teach you how to play Kiana on your way out as well.
Yeah. You could just ask Kanavi, perhaps, something like that. I hear that guy's pretty good at playing carries.
And I mean, you could just see, unfortunately for Gen.G, like they are just catching waves and hoping for T1 to make an error, and T1 is just not going to give them the pleasure. Keria will avoid this Q. Let's see what else he can avoid.
Yeah, Deadly Flourish actually doing a fair bit of work here, but Keria not even pressing the ult button, just looking to try and set up for a bit of a catch on the Keen, perhaps. He's put into the Cataclysm, flashes out immediately, breaks the chains. They're now going to need to go back, and doesn't have his flash now for the upcoming fight. Baron going to be on the minds of T1. They're doing their very best to lock down vision control. There is a cute little ward here in this brush, giving Gen.G a little bit of information as in goes Owner. Deadly Flourish just to spot what's happening in that brush there, but it looks like Gen.G are not going to be face-checking just yet.
Okay, this is...
Oh dear, never mind. Maybe they will go in. There's the Zenith Blade from Duro. He didn't really want to be there, and Owner is going to be able to take him down. The Supreme Display of Talent is decent, but not quite good enough, as down goes Tibbers as well. Chovy doing battle against Faker here, who flashes to pick up the kill on his opponent mid laner. And now Keen finds his way into the fight, and he's going to take the death exit this time around after being a zombie for just a little while. And the curtains are not being called for Ruler. I think they will actually be called for Ruler, as now Owner is going to be making his way over and looking to try and take him down. The Realm Warp comes in. The Flag and Drag doesn't do too much of anything as the Aatrox delivery comes on through. And Gumayushi's like, guys, why don't we just win the game?
They're helping and keeping the players from going back so they can win the game. That's what's happening. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's a little bit of
Doran
something like
shows
that.
up.
As they're doing their very best to kite Doran around here, who doesn't actually get the heal from the redemption, as Canyon looking to block off the next two that are making their way over. Deadly Flourish is decent here, as this is some yakety sacks coming on through here, as Canyon trying to get himself out. They have regrouped though, and in comes the cow! Keria going to be able to deliver a double kill over to Gumayushi, and that was a weird little passage of play, but ultimately it's going to be even more winning for T1, as it's given players like Duro the opportunity to respawn before they win this game.
It almost feels like a psychological warfare move here from T1, as they just smash them over and over again before the Nexus falls.
Yeah.
And Atlas, we knew we would, but we have a series on our hands now.
It was already all over our hands after game number 1, and it is now being confirmed as T1 will make this one a best of 3. Game 2, Owner on Jarvan. We saw it last time out. Gen.G, I reckon, will be sweating after that performance. A real bounce back here from T1.
Yeah, Owner on Jarvan, but Keria on Alistair as well, making such an impact. His TP play and that bottom side skirmish, his early laning phase, the trap he set up for Duro, and this was a huge swing of momentum here to T1. The Kiana pick continues to look invisible here in the LCK, and T1 with a stronger draft. In my mind, there was no question they had way more win conditions than what Gen.G had, and Gen.G did not get ahead enough, and then the map was just dark. They couldn't see anything, they couldn't leave their base, and it was just a matter of time until T1 either cooked the Baron to win the game or Gen.G had to go check, and Duro kept checking, kept dying. Fine, but I think you once again kind of have to control the game from start to finish, otherwise the Sivir scaling kind of gets out of control. They also have the global of the Talia, so they can play with this Sivir's wave clear really, really well. The Pantheon has the Gwen, so if you're winning that side lane, if the Gwen is pushing through turrets, can play to that as well.
I'm feeling less bad about this for Gen.G, but
I think it's less bad as game 2.
Yeah, way less inspired after the last 2 picks. I think the Xayah Ahri really did not do it for me. But the kite back is going to be there. It's just a lot more of a difficult game here for Ruler this time around, playing a short-range carry into so much CC and dive potential.
How do you kill the Sivir when we get to late game? That's a question they're going to have to answer because they're going to have to go through so much to get to the Sivir, try to charm her. She might just block it. It's going to be a tough time here for Gen.G, but definitely a playable draft.
It certainly is. Jumping to the Rift here for game number 3.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. You can see Faker with the opportunity to lane up against his skin on the Ahri, which is pretty cool. Nice of Chovy to show him that one, as of course, Faker does not use skins in the mid lane. Also hasn't played Ahri in a while, although it is a pretty iconic champion for the player, as is all of the champions in League of Legends.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I kind of caught myself on that one. I was like, hang on, we can't list it because the list would be too long and the game would be over.
I mean, like, you're like, hey, you wouldn't say Lulu, right? You're like, well, actually, in fact.
As it turns out, one of his most played, to most people's chagrin. Is now Faker in a bit of trouble, speaking of which. Keen running with scissors. We know that's dangerous. And he is going to have to go back. The minions should crash.
Yeah, I don't know if he has to TP here, but it's not ideal.
He is Talia, so he does run a bit faster.
I think he... Let's see what he decides to do. He really doesn't want to TP. I think he just barely gets back and loses like a little bit, but not too much here. It's going to be fine. So that could have been a disaster. Doesn't have to flash ultimately, but is going to put him significantly behind in this lane.
Yep. He'll miss out on experience from one minion, which can actually be annoying.
The thing is, if he TPs and then Chovy just procs electrocute twice, then he's like in an even worse spot, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. As Keen dashes out of the way of the counter-striking Jax. And we are just going to see these two top laners hit each other a bunch of times and try to hit CS at the same time, is basically how this one's going to look. See how Kane is able to navigate it, especially with Gwen in the position that she is now. This used to be a matchup that we saw quite often when Gwen was a whole lot stronger than she is now. So it could be more difficult for Kane to navigate as Doran hits that level 2. Leap strikes in. Stun does go down, but he gets into the brush in time. So I think Kane might be all right.
Doran.
Another leap strike. Man, Doran is really putting the hurt onto Kane here in this early laning phase.
You know, there are some days where you're like, Doran is feeling himself. He's in complete control of the lane. It's not the day where you're like, I'm not sure if Doran is crazy or a genius. It feels like today he is calculated, Doran. He's completely locked in. As this has been pretty favorable for Talia.
And it's only Showmaker that can win this matchup, as it turns out.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because we have seen this
little Rise group stat.
Yeah, we have seen this attempted so many times, though, be it the Rise group or the Legend group. This is what a whole lot of players feel is a playable matchup, is the Ahri into the Talia. But we haven't really seen too much of that proven. As Keen down to 200 health here, Doran shoving this wave forward.
Shouldn't matter too much since it's very impossible to dive, I think, at this point. I mean, Doran may look for something.
Yeah, oh, does do a lot of damage there with that Empower. And only needs a little bit more. As the circle comes down, the answering flash is good.
And
Doran didn't pick up the turret aggro. But Doran, I think, has enough of a lead to be able to get himself out of the way here. So Canyon just going to protect Kane while he picks up these minions.
That was very scary for Doran, and does have to flash, so his advantage kind of washed away there off of that play. And if Canyon flashes and stuns him there, if he's a little bit faster to rotate over, then it could have really backfired, but he does get away with his life.
Yep, Gen.G get the information that there is a monkey in the area, but we can see that the monkey did go home. Still, fair bit of pressure here on this bottom lane. As the Karma Sivir doing exactly what we expect, and that is shoving wave after wave into this Xayah Neeko. Really nullifying the Neeko's early power as Seismic Shove going to be able to find Chovy here. Faker being able to bounce back relatively well, even though he is still behind by a little bit.
Canyon going to come down here to the bottom lane. We'll be able to clear these Krugs, but might actually look for a gank as well. This pressure does continue, as you said, the Karma is just really controlling this one. That's one of the only things that Neeko doesn't just kind of auto-win against in so many matchups, because of her ability to help push waves. And
wow, this minion wave is very large.
It's pretty big, this control ward. High value.
Yeah. Kane, I think, knows that there is something happening here. As he's just, can't even get the cannon. And Doran very happily picking up all of this farm. Really nicely played as Kane is able to move down, clears out this control ward. and realizes now that he can move a little bit further up. Does have a level advantage, which is kind of crazy, as Chovy walks over some rocks once again. Faker throwing a whole bunch of them around here in this lane. Nice charm will connect. Orb of Deception there as well for some extra damage, but you can see Faker is feeling fine.
Duro hanging out up here, but I don't think there's really anything he can do unless Doran makes a mistake. As we are going to see the backs to come through.
Yep.
And you see Ruler is heading back down to the bottom lane. And so it's just going to be a complete reset here. And Duro, as a minion, will return to the bottom lane as well. And Faker laning here pretty well, despite the early level 1 shenanigans where he was forced to back. Didn't really end up falling too far behind. And it's a quiet early game here. You know, we had the attempt from Doran there that did not work. The lack of flash hasn't been punished yet. Put the wave in a really good spot, so ended up really denying some farm there from Keen again.
Yep, Duro dodging a Q, unfortunately, as the tether is still going to land. Courier taking a bit from the Blooming Burst, but you can see Ruler looking a little worse for wear himself. And this ricochet damage in these fights is going to be really, really important to look out for. If you're a Gen.G fan, killing Gumayusi is going to be really hard because he's got a lot of tools around him to peel, but also like because everyone's so short range, the ricochet value is just going to be immense.
He's just always going to be doing oodles of damage when we get to the late games. Canyon not quite going to be able to steal this one away.
Yeah, he's charged up a spear, so looking a little bit scary, but Shape Splitter gives information that there is an owner and a carrier in the area. Looks like Canyon not going to go for anything, as no neutrals have been started up just yet. We have the grubs in about a minute, but the dragon has been somewhat ignored for now.
This top side is just continuing to be an issue for Keen. Like the deficit, it's not massive, but it gets like it's a little bit bigger every wave. It feels like here, as Doran is now having this wave pushing over. Faker does have his ult, and they could look for a play. Keen potentially caught.
Yep, there's the counter-strike. It's actually going to get the value here as the seismic shove pushes him back. No flash available, and there's first blood going over to Doran's Jax.
And a great play from Faker there. And even with the global Pantheon, Canyon's just too far away. The observers instantly pan to the Pantheon that's on the wrong side of the map to assist Keen. And that's just a great call there from Faker. Comes over and sets up the play there with Doran. No summoners needed to get that pick onto Keen, who was flashless from that earlier exchange. Big win for T1 in this early game. Starting to get this Jax online. I'll watch it again. Look at the rotation over from Faker here. And the Weaver's Wall is not going to cut him off. The Counter-Strike certainly will. There's just nowhere to go. The rocks are down. The shove is good. Kill goes to the Jax. Has been putting on that pressure all game long.
Man, got pretty close to having the dash back off cooldown again, but just unable to make that one work. And so the Gwen was not immune, and that means that Doran is just going to be so scary. Canyon started off these grubs. As Ona comes on in to try and grab this control ward, will be able to do so. The grubs are going to lose interest relatively soon, and there they go. As Keen does pick up this wave here in this mid lane, avoids the boomerang blade here from Gumayusi as Duro.
No level 6.
Level 5, yeah.
If he has 6, this is a very different situation. Still, Keen is already hitting a little bit.
Yeah, this the snips, when they get charged up, a little bit frightening.
Faker doesn't have his ult to cut anybody off since he used it for that play on the top side, but I still think T1 have a really strong core here as long as they don't get themselves caught in this choke, because Owner has flash and ult. He can access almost anybody.
Yeah, Ruler in a little bit of trouble here. Does have Featherstorm, but does not want to use it in the 1v1 against Doran.
Has flash and his ult's back up. Like, that was very scary.
Yeah. And now you've got Ruler having to go back home. Doran actually might be able to get a fair bit of work done towards this turret. As Ruler, of course, using his own skin. Very cute there. Didn't mention that earlier on, but of course got that one in 2017.
That should be Dragon in exchange here for T1, you have to think. His owner is clearing his jungle on his way over to that full control they have on the bottom side. TP is going to come through from Keen, who was holding the mid wave here, but so many plates, like you said, go over, and they get the Dragon. Denying the grubs for the Jax is a big win, and also if Keen gets some time to hit turrets, which he should later on, this is going to be a big win for Gen.G, but in the immediate game state, definitely feels like a trade up for T1 and take a small 500 gold lead here at 9.5 minutes, plus the Dragon.
Yep, not too bad at all. Seismic Shove going to connect onto Chovy once again as well. Hasn't pressed his R button or anything like that, but is a little bit frustrated about taking a bit of extra damage. So it is going to be 3 grubs traded for 1 dragon, but also Jax with a lot of spare time an almost 400 gold lead here as well. But it is a CS lead that's actually been put together by Keen with that extra time that he picked up in the mid lane as well. Good lane management by Gen.G to make sure that that one happens. But the one who paid the price was Ruler, who's down 20 CS in comparison to Gumayushi, who has just been running the wave, running the lane alongside Keria.
It's not going to be fun to catch waves into Sivir for the mid game, which we're heading to here very shortly. But still going to be a threat later on. Is down an item right now. He hasn't actually been able to back and purchase one. Faker, not quite able to get that minion, fortunately for him. The game is still a quiet one. It's still quite the calm early game here with some big leads on both sides, right? The grub's significant. Chovy gets shoved again.
Yeah, just kind of collecting those.
And
didn't have rocks on the ground, but is going to be able to pick up the cannon. And let's see what...
snipe him?
Yeah, not actually going to happen. The rock just barely out of range, and the Mantra Q not quite going to work out there as well.
That was a really cool idea there from Keria. He's like, I'm definitely not going to be able to see this guy. He's got flash, but trying to look for enough poke damage there from Faker to look for the burst. Almost enough there to catch Chovy, but he does get away.
Yeah, it wasn't quite enough in the end.
Not really too much of a punish attempt here from Gen.G on the bottom side of the map. Canyon's coming over now. Doran has flash and ult, though.
Feels like Keen is just getting scarier and scarier in this game, though, despite that first blood going over to Doran.
Isn't that just the story of Keen?
It is how it works, isn't it?
It's like Keen's like, he's having a little bit of a tough time, you know, the matchup's a little bit volatile, but then later on you're like, man, I'm
starting to get like, I'm getting conditioned by you saying that Keen's having a tough time for that to mean, oh, so Keen's going to hard carry in the late game. Oh, that's how that one's going to work. Because you didn't say that in game 2.
Yeah.
And that was the game things didn't go well for Gen.G. And Keen being on a damage deal, going to be the biggest of deals.
He did have like a gold lead on the side actually last game.
Yes,
as well.
he did.
Yeah, he is quite scary. And we mentioned it in the game 1 with the Camille, his Gwen specifically. Like sometimes he falls behind, does not matter. See how much further he'll fall behind though with Owner showing up here with Keria.
Yeah.
We have Duro in waiting.
Yeah, he is going to be able to spot that there is a monkey in the area. Doran is taking a bit of damage, though, as he does get himself out, but that is plates guaranteed.
Plate gank.
There we go. And those are lucrative. Absolutely. Still Keen is able to pick up all of these minions.
It's so
no
cool.
worries there at all.
It's so cool how much agency you have, though, as T1 in this draft. Like, when you have the Sivir pushing in mid lane, you know, as Gen.G, you're like, do we want to force something here? It's like, probably not, you know, because it's going to be a faster rotation over of Guma in this case. If they did commit to it earlier, he would have been faster on the play. Now they're still like trying to make something happen, but it's Jax who has a Karma with him. You know that Owner's in the area with his ultimate, so hard to actually make anything of this. And so still sit on that 400 gold lead. And I think Gen.G really want to be ahead in this game quite significantly at this stage, and they're not.
Yeah, nice little charm is going to connect onto Faker here, but he's throwing a whole lot of rocks around. Actually flashes to get out of the way of this Grand Starfall from Canyon, and they look for the dive. There's the flash stun, and they lock down the kill. Still, Canyon is going to be taken out, so a 1-for-1 from the GOAT outside of the top outer turret.
Hashtag just Faker things on that one. Flashes instantly when he sees the ult, gets into turret range before Canyon can lock him down in a safe location for that to be a trade. Has his rocks and shoves set as he dies, and the death rattle comes through as the turret takes Canyon out. So a heavy commitment here by the jungler, who has to flash as well, still gets taken out. The reaction from Faker here is so instant, by the way. It's actually kind of absurd. But because he trades here with Chovy, he is in kill range. Pantheon finally decides it's time to come up here and make the play. Did he just actually see it? Did he flash before he even saw that?
It's kind of insane.
Like, I
barely saw anything.
I think he actually flashed before it even came through. He was like, nah, I see the angle. Oh, actually, maybe he was on the ward. I think actually maybe Cannon was on that ward when he started channeling the ultimate.
It could have been something like that.
Yeah,
but even noticing that is kind of absurd regardless. Still going to be able to get Faker the 1-for-1 trade. It does mean that Faker is off the map and isn't able to pick up that top outer turret. Wave that did crash into the turret, so still going to be working out relatively well for Gen.G.
Still worth for them. Just very impressive from Faker.
Yep. It's always good to appreciate. As Canyon is going to face check and isn't feeling fantastic about it. On the hunt is Gumayushi. His ruler going to rotate over, but it's mainly just to watch this Pantheon die. And so Canyon's woes continuing here. in this early stage of this game. I guess moving towards the mid game here now.
These wards, this setup here, like assuming the ward was the reason why Faker was able to react that quickly with so high value, then they spot him and take him out again. As now Faker's looking for a Weaver's Wall.
Yeah, Ruler might need to ult here as the Seismic Shove is going to pick him up. Let's see whether the Pop Blossom is going to come on through. There it is. Duro going to have to flash out of the way, though the rocks go wide. But still, that is double ultis on cooldown.
Plus
as well
flash.
As a flash for this Nico.
Even a heal. Keen is going to try to get some value here in the side lane with 3 grubs on this Gwen. Will be answered by a teleport. He got some damage done. He wasn't able to get the significant punch back they were looking for.
As Doran just getting zoned away here momentarily. Needlework comes out as Faker throws an entire volley at Keen. Does have to flash as he didn't quite have his circle back available yet again. So more summoner spells being picked up by this Talia. Faker is really feeling himself here today.
You know, he didn't make the error in game 1. I think we have to acknowledge that. But otherwise, he's a man possessed today.
Yeah. And Doran going to look for a little bit of an angle here. Gets the ulti out of Chovy. Actually a big deal. As he's not going to be resetting in any fights coming on up. As Double Dragon being considered here by T1. Got a little bit close to an Earth, Wind, and Fire. Thankfully, we do have an angle for it, as it's another Ocean Soul, second in a row. And that's Feats of Strength locked in for T1 as well, as all 3 games, early game has belonged to them. As Doran going to get stunned up, does flash away, but it looks like it's going to be this turret going on over to Gen.G.
There's 2 turrets under threat here for Gen.G at the same time. We won't see Faker commit for this one, but the Herald dropped in mid with this wave here. It should just be a trade of turrets. Doran does lose his flash, but it's not really a trade up for Gen.G, and the game state for them is not where they want it to be.
Oh dear.
And this is going to be a collapse for sure.
Yeah, there's a Rift Herald on her way down here, as Faker is going to try and shove Keen. It doesn't quite work out here, as the Rift Herald is just going to bypass. They pick up the turret, and now the Cyclone on top of the Gwen. No way for him to get out of that, and that is just Ona once again taking control here in game 3.
Yeah, I cannot stress enough like how much power you have when you have control over the map with this composition for T1, but when you have a Herald on top of it, you're just taking turrets in both lanes. There's no safe place for Keen. Like, he's like, oh, maybe I'll get back to my turret. Oh, it's a Wukong coming down to gank me and kill my turret. There's no place that's safe. He has his ultimate available, takes Keen out. And again, Faker is just making these aggressive plays, and there's always a follow-up. There's always more than just what meets the eye when you have Faker in a side lane. Got to be considerate of what could happen with that Rift Herald. Keen, it's not like Keen was playing super greedy or aggressively there, but does get caught nonetheless.
Yep. And sometimes you just don't expect a Rift Herald to come down and destroy your turret when there is no minion wave. So a little bit unfortunate there for Keen, but still was overextended and did see Ona get back into that Rift Herald, so it's likely that he was heading somewhere down as he's looking to do the play one more time, this time without the Cyclone, but we'll see whether that actually matters as the Weaver's Wall comes down. Charm is going to miss, and Chovy has to eat so many rocks and has to flash, as now the turnaround potentially coming in here as Keen looking for the angle, wanting revenge onto this Talia. As the needlework comes out, Chovy finds the Charm, as Gumayushi finds himself so far away from the rest of his team, but maybe that's part of the play as they go 2 for 1. I guess the backline ganking Sivir kind of worked out.
No, it absolutely worked out in the end. I think Guma thought he has priced into it, he's going to go for the play regardless. And even though Ruler's still alive and he's an AD carry, there's just no way for, with these low health bars, Gen.G to continue the play. T1 back away, knowing that without their main source of damage, they're not going to be able to do anything else there. They don't leave Gen.G the opportunity to try to get anything else back there. And Guma's sacrifice does work out in this case. And it's just, look at the vision for T1. Like, they can see how far away the Pantheon is. They know that the Xayah is behind the play in mid because he's laying it to Sivir. You know, like, they have so much power, they have so much vision, they can just go, Chovy's past the river. It's not allowed. We're going to go kill him. This teleport here from Keen buys some time. And look at where Guma is. He's on the left side of this fight. He has a spell shield here. Decides to flash for the kill because he's probably not going to get out either way. So he guarantees that kill, plus a ton of extra damage as his teammates retreat.
And it was actually, it confused the heck out of Canyon as well, because he wanted to join Keen and actually fight the front line, but then there was a Sivir in his back line, like doing crazy stuff. So it meant that he was happy feeding through a lot of that team fight, and I kind of don't blame him, because I would have also been a little bit confused.
It was bizarre, but I think it was definitely a great call from T1 as Canyon maybe caught again. He's rooted.
Yeah. Let's see whether he can get himself out of this one as the Cyclone does come in there from Owner. Looks for the angle, but Canyon is able to flash his way to safety. Ruler now in an awkward position as Faker is teleported in, trying to get these feathers down. As Doran also rotating around from that top side. Otacon has just spawned, which is why we're getting a bit antsy, I could imagine, on this Rift right now. 2,000 gold, not the be-all and end-all, and it looks like Gen.G with a decent angle on this mid lane. And it's just a wall that comes down, so no Talias to need to get off it this time around.
Nope, just going to try to stop that push, and we'll reset here as Gen.G had a lot of control. Yep. With the timing of this reset from Doran, he may have to TP in. If we see Gen.G look for the Otacon startup, Keen does a ton of damage, even just on one item here. The Gwen is just going to help rush this down, so T1 have to be quick on the rotation. I think Doran will have to TP in very quickly here. There it is, the top side.
Yep, Owner's going to be moving in. I mean, T1 have full information as to what's going on here, and Keen's already down to 50% health. Ruler trying to get some damage down. Gen.G are going to be looking for the turn as Owner moves on over, and now Chovy looking for the angle. Pop Blossom connects, finds only one as Faker flashes his way out. Doran avoids all of the feathers so beautifully, and it's the Nico that goes down first. The Wukong steals away the Otacon. Of course Owner does. The man's playing like a beast today. Keen does manage to find the value, and now it's Ruler's turn to pop off as Canyon trying to run his way out. The seismic shove doesn't find the angle, but he still jumps onto a rock as Doran's so scary. Finds the Empower, takes down the Pantheon, and it's Chovy and Ruler left alive in the end, but the Otacon goes to T1.
Yeah, the Otacon goes to T1. Canyon was on the left side of that fight, and it was a Gwen versus a Wukong there in the Otacon exchange, so advantage jungler in that case, and Gen.G here kind of trying to force this flank, and look at Chovy. He thinks he has the angle here. With the Nico follow-up, the stun comes through, Faker flashes away, the charm here onto Owner, and then look at where Canyon is. He's not in smite range. So it just goes over to the Wukong here. Keen trying his best to do something, maybe steal it away. Does end up getting the kill as well as he goes down. And Canyon gets the snipe, but he will cost him big with Faker and Doran here. Canyon has to walk up to avoid Faker's rotation of spells.
Yeah, just finds one of the rocks on the side there, but kind of did jump right into it. A little bit unfortunate, but still great play from T1, really showing the value of Talia in these team fights.
This looks like what the Legend Group games all looked like for so much of rounds 3 to 5, where if you get a small lead, you just take over the game. Gold lead-wise, not that huge here, but when you look at the fights and how T1 have been so dominant, how clean they've been looking in side lanes, the fact that the Sivir is going to scale, it's really horrific if you're a Gen.G fan right now. They've been trading a little bit here in sides, and it looks like they want to try to pressure this inner turret here, but T1, 3 objectives to 0 here in terms of dragons as well, and Faker's just going to ult in.
Yeah, Chovy, speaking of ulting in, is just going to ult towards the turret. Kind of crazy as Doran here towards his bottom side. It will be the teleport from Keen to try and stop him from just bonking down this inner turret.
And I think we need to contextualize a little bit here that this is a Gen.G that just lost it since LCK Cup, lost its first best of 5 to KT. But otherwise, an extremely dominant team, beaten only once by T1 in the regular season, but otherwise a practically perfect year from this squad. No one was able to stop them. No one was able to take them down, and now T1, you know, it's a 1-1 series. The game's not over by any means. It's only 1,000 gold the lead. But the way we're watching this game play out, the jungle difference that we're really feeling here across these games, starting to make you feel, I think, a little bit worried if you're a Gen.G fan. And Gen.G fans haven't had to worry much this year, right? It's been constant winning, constant success. You lose to KT, but maybe it's just KT things. But now T1 in a commanding position in this game.
Yeah, they certainly are. They have all basically gone a very long ways. Now Chovy looking for a bit of an angle, but Gumayusi presses R. He's running pretty quickly, so not going to get charmed up this time around. Chovy just realizing that he does have a fair bit of ability haste here at level 16, so he should have that ulti back up relatively quickly.
And Keen is 1-4. Well, that's where he's at his most dangerous.
Yeah, I think it's like Nuggery all over again.
Yeah, he's got an Asher's Tooth, and he's going to use it, and we'll let the minions do most of the work here on this turret. Although, with Canyon here, I think he should just be able to get it.
Yep, there is the outer turret falling over, so that is going to mean that the gold lead is under 1,000. The problem is there are a lot of intangibles, right? There is feats of strength already there for T1. There's Otacon for T1. They have Soul Point put together. Everything on the Rift that isn't money is theirs.
And everything that we've seen in terms of team fights, the coordination, the cohesion, the side lane pressure that's been applied has been better for T1 as well. Gen.G have done such a great job of playing the macro and trading turrets that the game looks incredibly even. But what I'm more worried about is how these compositions collide later on. Now there's so many threats that are online to get on top of the Xayah, who's your main win con here. Chovy is massive, by the way. Like, he's about to get death cap, but he's still an Ahri. And he's going to have to hit his charms, right? Wasn't able to hit the charm on the prio target on his flank on that Otacon play. That was the whole game plan was him hitting that prio target. It did not happen. So we'll see what he can get done. He's level 16 now.
Yep. I think as well, this time Ruler now has an Infinity Edge that he just completes. Thank you, Jonah Strong, for a bit of a zoom in. And he's not Jhin. I think that that's really important. I don't think, you know, I'm sort of back to not liking Jhin very much.
Yeah, and that last comp, I really...
Yeah, really, it's just not a whole lot of damage. Xayah can do a whole lot of damage, even though T1 do have a lot of tools to make her life hard. If she is left unattended, can be a very difficult champion to mitigate.
If T1 botch the engage and you're going down an item as the AD carry into the Featherstorm Meat Grinder, you're in trouble. Chovy may be in trouble.
Yeah, unfortunately not going to be able to find the charm onto Faker here and does have to flash.
The placement of the rocks and the shoves have been so good for Faker.
Yeah, and every time Chovy's in a side lane, he just gets ulted on by Faker.
Yeah, and like he has to flash. If you put the rocks on top of the Ahri first, then force, like, she has to react, and then you put the shove behind it. She can't dash because she's on the rocks, so she has to flash. And he's done it so many times now. And so, I mean, it's really Chovy's only option with the placement there and the angle of the Weaver's Wall from Faker. Level 16 himself. Now on the Rift, there's 50 seconds until this Ocean Soul will spawn. Well, potentially Ocean Soul, of course.
We may actually see a team fight once again between these two squads. The only one that we've had in this game feels like that Otacon fight that did go T1's way. Owner on such a good team fighting champion here as well. He has been in such good form today.
Ruler and Keen have to do so much heavy lifting in this fight. Keen does have that arm guard he was able to buy. Will really help him out. Same can be said of Doran, of course, but that Gwen damage is going to be massive if you can get just a little bit of time.
Oh, Chovy off on a flank angle. Does get the Warrior Trickster out of Owner, but it's not a massive cooldown. Seismic Shove going to go wide this time. Canyon able to walk that one off. Gen.G with control of the river for the moment as Doran gets charmed up, but there's the Cyclone. Into the backline goes Owner, but he's kind of alone and hasn't really used his ultimate for much. Does flash to get himself to safety. As in goes Doran now. He will go golden, but this is so disjointed, and Keen is going to get on top of Gumayusi. Goes golden himself, buys so much space, but where's the follow-up? Keen just runs and will get shoved back towards Faker and takes a huge rock. That is going to be the dragon secured with the feather pullback. And now I think Doran may eventually die, although no, he doesn't. He has leap strike, so he's just fine. Keen for Dragon is the trade for now.
Keen's sacrifice means that Ocean Soul doesn't go over to T1, but that's the end of the good news because T1 are full health. I mean, mostly full health here, at least. Doran has TP, so they're just going to come right over here to Baron control, force a reaction out of Gen.G. They'll get Chovy's TP. He's going to come over here and clear this wave. But there's not a whole lot of vision here for Gen.G, so T1 should be able to get these backs away for free. And the fight's a little bit split up here. It looks like Owner practically loses his patience almost with Chovy. Missing that last charm, he's like, I'm going to get on top. Has to flash. That's actually really significant. I think if Owner is really in the thick of this fight with his Cyclone, it is never as close as it is now. And then T1 are able to make the correct decision to go on to Keen. And during this arm guard, Gen.G decide Dragon over team fight, which I think is correct. A lot of teams, I think, turn there and try to fight with Keen and let the Dragon go. Ruler with the feathers, you mentioned, secures the Dragon.
And Doran almost dies to the feathers, by the way.
Yeah, insane, because this is a fed Xayah on 3.5 items.
And that's why I kind of thought Gen.G were going to be able to fight for this, right? Because they had the item spike before Gumayusi onto Ruler. This guy, I mean, he has a skin for this champion for a reason. He is very, very good at navigating team fights with the Xayah, even if it is a tough composition to fight into. Still something that T1 need to respect and figure out a way to deal with. Right now, there is now 3 items onto Gumayusi. He has hit that break point. These ricochets are going to absolutely tear through Gen.G.
Weaver's Wall here. They have incredible turn on this Baron. If Owner hadn't had to flash in that last team fight, they might actually consider starting this, but said they're just going to keep playing around vision, keep getting these free backs and forcing Gen.G to come over and clear vision. Keen is going to get some alone time in the side lane right now and does have teleport, so I think Gen.G are feeling pretty okay with this situation since they can now go over and clear this vision.
Yep.
Keen getting closer and closer to level 16, a huge threat in this game. Even though he's 1-5, make no mistake, this Gwen is incredibly powerful and has so much staying power because of her mist.
Yeah, it's actually like, I don't know. It is just Gwen things, but it's also Keen things, so it's kind of compounded. You know, it's just a very scary 1-5 champion. We just don't see that all that often. Is Chovy going to get attacked by Baron here momentarily? Clears out the ward, though, so does do what he wanted. Yeah, he's at 305 CS here at 30 minutes into the game. Not too bad, but still sitting on the same 3 items that he was on a little while ago. As T1 will be able to clear out this one cheeky ward.
You can see the tempo is always T1's. Even when Gen.G clear the vision, they have to then leave and T1 can get it back. Keen wasn't able to hit that inner turret like he wanted, had to back away in case of a T1 potential startup. He does have that teleport though, so I think could be playing through the side lane a little bit more aggressively than he is right now.
Yeah, Chovy going to be moving over here as well as Faker finds the rocks. Man, that reaction is absurd.
Faker is telepathic today.
Yeah, seriously.
Or maybe he could just see the future, we don't know, but...
He also did see Chovy move on over there, but I don't know whether he could have really predicted him to immediately just ult over the wall on top of him. But maybe that's just the way.
I mean, it's a free ult, though. I mean, that's massive.
Yeah, no.
He just shuts it down, and he's like, nice try. And Keen continues to kind of push a wave into the turret, but then leave. And is kind of otherwise farming hard here, trying to buy that Zhonya, as you have to imagine. As his completed 3rd item, he is backing right now. See if he has the money for it. Would really love to have that extra safety. Just picks up a piece of it, the Rod of Ages. Very expensive item, Zhonya. So he has now the big components. So maybe on his next back, he will have it.
Yeah.
In fact, just hanging out in the fountain right now. But okay, yeah, he does have it. Okay, so he was just like maybe like 50 gold off, so spinning around and gets it there.
Yeah, both, in fact, Keen and Doran completing the Zhonyas at the same time. So repairing their arm guards after the last fight. Nicely done. 50 seconds on the Dragon once again.
So crazy that Keen's on item parity with this Jax, despite being 1-5, and is still going to be able to make such a huge impact in this upcoming fight here.
Yeah.
T1 are not out of this yet.
There's also a huge shutdown on Doran as well. If they're ever able to get that kill, it is a huge deal.
Item advantage still in the hands of Ruler as well for this next fight. Death cap for Faker, as you mentioned.
Oh, man.
This could be the fight that decides the game here if it's won swingingly by one side. And we're 32 minutes in. It feels like we're not that late because this game's been kind of just a lot of side laning and a lot of pressure, but not a whole lot of really big team fights. But this is going to be one of them.
Yeah. Ruler with 4 items complete as well. Like that Bloodthirster on top of everything. He is very, very frightening and can now play a whole lot more aggressively with that extra shield, with the extra lifesteal. But that is going to be a phenomenal shot. Chovy has to go golden at the beginning of this fight as now Doran looking for the angle, tries to get the counter-strike, but they take down Chovy. That's the biggest part of it. Faker gets into the back line. Duro just melting so incredibly quickly. Keen goes golden, but I don't think he's surviving for much longer, and Ona will finish off the Gwen. The entire top side are destroyed. Ruler and Duro not knowing what to do next as they destroy the team fight.
It's a smash win in the team fight for T1. The shoves from Faker, the Talia has just been out of control this game. And now just a lone bot duo trying to defend against this massive push from T1 to bring themselves to match point.
Let's see whether they can actually finish it here as Doran going in, flashes forward to get on top of Ruler, and of course the seismic shove there. This game is over, ladies and gentlemen, and T1 have match point now for the next 2 games at least. And they could be poised to be heading not only to the Inspire Arena, but also avoiding that play-in best of 5 that could end their world's journey so quickly.
Keen tried his best to stay relevant in this game. Chovy, huge farm on this Ahri, but it's just shut down by Faker time and time again. Never able to find the impact he was looking for, never able to charm the backline. And so much of this game was about the map control that T1 had, the tempo that they had, the vision, just like game 2. And it starts to feel like we might have an upset on our hands here with T1 looking like they are the stronger team here.
Oh my God.
And the gold lead is really not going to give you a lot of team fighting power until much later on in the game, whereas this Cassiopeia, can kind of be stable, and then you can get to the later parts. Don't get me wrong, I still think T1 end up with a much stronger draft here, but Cassiopeia, this is one of those angles I really like it for because it works well with the draft so cohesively.
Yeah, it
the
does.
Boros is like not just going to win by default because it shoots far.
Yeah, that is very true. And I think that Ruler and Duro can certainly get some things done in that bottom lane, although it will be a little bit difficult up against double ranged and a whole lot of poke. One of the important things is just recognizing how smart it was to go for this first pick Sylas, holding onto the flex for the entirety of the draft at the same time, because Faker is, of course, like he just got a legendary skin on the champion. We know that he's pretty good at playing the Sylas, but it's largely been a jungler in more recent memory. Just kind of a masterstroke here by T1 as we get onto the Rift here for game number 4.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for what could be the final game of this series, T1 versus Gen.G. A trip to the Inspire Arena on the line, as well as avoiding the play-in's best of 5 against the LPL 4th seed. It's just kind of ridiculous. It still kind of blows my mind that we have Gen.G and T1 fighting to keep themselves alive here in the LCK playoffs, and one of them will be, it's either the defending world champs or the defending MSI champs are going to be the 4th seed for the LCK.
It is wild, right? Like, you know, all those stats that Degon read out on the space.
Yeah.
For the dominance we've seen from Gen.G, the fact that they've always been a top team in the LCK for the last several years, and you know they're at the lower bracket early, and now down match point against them, against T1, who they consistently beat.
Going for a bit of the Hanwha tech
Hanwha
here.
Life, Kalista solo. I thought about this when we saw the Kalista initially, that we could see some sort of weird flex with it, and it is going to really help alleviate the lane issues that they have.
Ooh.
And also, yeah, if you hit a hook here on either of these targets, this goes really well in the 2v2 here for Gen.G.
So that they can actually make something happen here. This is, of course, going to really hinge on Ruler having all of the control in this top lane, because Cassante Blitzcrank isn't really a bottom lane. So that is not necessarily going to be winning into double range, especially.
Yeah, if you don't hit hooks, you do literally nothing, but you can just kind of catch the waves and play it as if it's an old school lane swap, just with a little bit of a friend hanging out for a little while.
Although, the best thing about Rek'Sai is, you know, like, if things do get tough, you can just literally bury your head in the sand.
Yeah.
And hope that it goes away. I think that's fantastic.
That's what ostriches do, apparently. Apparently it's not true, by the way, that saying about ostriches. They don't really do that.
Really?
That's what... I searched that recently. It was just like a myth or something.
I mean,
I use that like phrase a lot, you know. And
oh no, looking for an angle, is going to get the flash out of Chovy. Already a successful gank from the guy that's been all over the Rift in the early game. To be expected in this particular matchup, as of course the Skarner isn't going to be doing a whole lot, but just staying true to form right now is Ona.
So, one thing I want to point out in this this series, obviously Faker's had a phenomenal performance despite, you know, the game 1 error. This is Chovy's 65th unique pick in the LCK.
Wow, he hasn't played
Cassio.
Cassio. That's kind of nuts.
It's because he's a knower.
Huh. He has played a lot of, like, I don't know. Okay, the hook going to connect, but the knock-up...
It did.
Yeah, the knock-up is going to land. I guess Rek'Sai, just a little bit larger of a model than we expected.
Yeah, that was a very weird one there in terms of what we saw on our side, but not going to matter too much. But going back to what I was saying about Faker, he has been so flexible this playoffs. In the past, we were like, oh, they have to ban Victor because Faker's champion pool is so small, but okay, we're never going to talk about it because Doran is once again the target.
Yeah, Cannon going to look to see if he can throw a rock at him, as Doran is just traveling through all of these tunnels. At the same time, Keria looking a little worse for wear as T1 looking to take down the Keen Sante, and that is going to be first blood over to Ona, and he should be able to survive. In the meantime, trying to get back through yet another tunnel, and Doran is just making them look silly, getting so much of the health back as well as he tunnels underground. Another tunnel going to be used. Man, he's like a kid playing on an elevator as finally he gets slammed into the wall and taken down, but he's claimed so many flashes and made them look silly.
Yeah, he made them look silly, but ultimately it still is a kill there over to Gen.G. Kill goes over to the Skarner, unfortunately, as Chovy should be fine here.
Ganked by a chain lash.
Yeah.
It is going to be all right for the moment, as Faker is constantly getting poisoned and twin-fanged, which is looking a little frustrating, but nothing really happening here, and is still just making bank because he's TF. Let's have a look at this dive towards the bottom side, and then we can go and have a look towards what the heck happened in the top lane.
Keria pulls this aggro. Keen goes incredibly low. They look for the follow-up here. Again, Keen trying to get to the other part of this turret. Owner's just so tanky. Then over here, like, so much has to go well for Gen.G in order to get this gank to succeed. Doran flashes to the upper part of his tunnel. It doesn't even need to take it here initially.
And then borrows to get the health.
Yep, and then he, like, it's Canyon who ends up getting the kill here, actually, not Ruler, as just had too much damage there as he pushed him against the wall. Just wanted to maximize it because they need to kill this Rek'Sai, but the fact that that kill goes over to the Skarner versus a Sylas picking it up on the other side, definitely not equivalent here. T1 picks up the first blood. Gen.G gets something back, and still not as good.
It is going to mean that, you know, Doran's life is still going to be difficult as he does move back towards his top lane once again. Hook going to go wide. As Doran just wanting to stay in experience range if he can.
Dragon under control of T1 on the bottom side of the map with his Varus push into the lane-swapped Cassante. Definitely exactly what T1 wants right now, and we'll be able to get this.
Oh, and Canyon going for the full wraparound here. As Doran, let's see whether he can survive this, as the tunnel comes on through. Duro still looking for the hook and manages to get him yet again. But I just don't know whether it's quite going to be enough because he gets underneath the turret. Will the Ren stacks come through? And yes, they will. Duro survives. And it's a second kill on to Doran in that top lane. In the meantime, though, the Dragon does go over to T1, and the Keen Sante is once again under threat.
I mean, he is Cassante. He does have level 6 now. I don't think they will be able to kill him, but they get the Dragon, which is a big prize, and will be at the cost of Doran, who almost gets out, almost outplays it again. So ends up being a big win there, because this time the kill goes over to the Kalista. This time Ruler gets his prize in the top side of the map. It's a play from Canyon here. And Doran, look at the setup of his tunnels. He's like, I think I can be fine. I think I can get up here. The wave state is so bad for him. They have to set up these tunnels, and then this time the placement of the hook is correct. Doran ends up getting caught. Ruler goes under turret here to get the rend and the kill.
Yep, and Blitzcrank into Rek'Sai kind of feels all right, because he always does, like when she travels through a tunnel, she is going to be in a predictable location. Duro is utilizing that incredibly effectively, though, have to say.
Low econ top laners.
Yes.
And Cassante may be 1 in 8, but he's one of the better low eco top laners. And it's Keen. When he's low economy, he pops off.
Yeah, he is the counterpoint, the 75.6% win rate, as Faker is running away from the snake once again. That is something you don't blame humans for doing that. We are programmed to run away from snakes. That's how that works, because when we were monkeys, we were scared of snakes as well.
Not even like cats. You know, you put a cucumber behind a cat.
Oh, yeah, true.
Jump.
Yep. That's where all those funny cat videos come from.
Yeah.
Weird cucumber situation.
So the game state here is pretty even between these two teams. But for Gen.G, at least the Kalista has a kill now. That's where you really need to start getting online for this draft to work. The Cassiopeia can scale into a big damage threat later on, especially with this composition as, Chovy may get caught.
Yeah, Destiny does come in. Miasma is down. Good position there as well, as Faker is just going to get picked up and taken down, but it is a counter ult here from Ona. Still the Fate's call to keep Duro safe. The flash over from Chovy. There's that killer instinct we've been looking for. And it's 2 on the floor for T1. Gen.G looking for even more as the blast cone from Canyon picks up a rock, and Keria finds himself in a very awkward spot. Ruler able to find it, and that is another hook landing here from Duro. Ruler just lets Keria melt as that bailout does not work. A really great start here for Gen.G this time.
It looked initially like it's another confident Faker call. He's going to look for the gold card play. He's going to look for the catch, but they had so many tools to turn it around. Owner's counter ult was actually almost enough to save it, but not quite there in the end. The Fate's Call comes through, so watch this again. Looks like Chovy is going to get caught, but they're right on top of a Skarner here. And look at this. Stun comes through first from the Gaze, then he gets the Impale to get the kill. Owner wants to go in, but the timing of the Fate's Call is phenomenal. Then Owner misses the chains here. Chovy guns him down, and then it's so easy to chase with his composition because you've got Skarner, you get Carrier's flash, but he's still not getting away. He's going to get hooked here in the end by Duro, has to flash to follow. They get an additional kill here over to Ruler. And this is Gen.G winning the early game as this comp wants to do. And now this Kalista is starting to get really, really strong. Very relevant for this mid game. Yeah.
And maybe we'll see one of the Kalista games where she does look really powerful. I think we did have one of them, like the first time she was picked up again. I believe it was a Kalista Renata lane, and it was Kellen and Diablo. Kellen, of course, one of the greatest Renata players that we have here in the LCK, and Diablo is a prodigy. So that one worked out really well. We since didn't see it find as much success and was kind of left alone. This is not even that, right? The Renata was picked away. And so we'll just have to see whether Ruler can find the same level of success, as the flash does have to be used here by Gumayusi, who has gone lethal tempo.
Yeah, he's going for lethal tempo. Varus here, I think with the low range comp you're into, you just want to be able to get through these tanky frontliners, the Cassante and the Skarner. It does make sense because without he isn't going to get you much into those targets, and if you're trying to hit a Cassiopeia, you're going to have to follow up with damage that they don't necessarily have. As Owner is here.
There's the all-out. Keen going to use that to try and actually go all-out as he dashes, flashes, and is able to make a lot of distance. Doran finds himself in an awkward spot as he does ult him, but that is going to be Keen using everything in order to survive.
Chovy trying to get a plate here, knowing that the Silas is nearby. He's greeting for it.
Yep, we'll be able to pick it up.
He has a control ward in the top river entrance, so knows that he was fine to go for those last few autos and pick that one up.
Doesn't quite have his flash available, so it's a bit of a scary one. It's the hook gonna connect, Duro! Oh man, this young player playing very well, but it's a great handshake here from Carrier, just not enough to deal with the Impale, and this Renata pick away is being punished.
These Gen.G Blitzcrank players, whether it's Duro this year or last year, man.
It must be the organization, man. Yeah. Tigers must really like robots.
I mean,
is that a thing?
The Blitzcrank color scheme kind of fits Gen.G's colors, you know?
Hey, there we go.
A little golden tint to it. This game state is looking worse every moment here for T1, as this is just a really nice angle here from Duro through the wall.
Yep. And the ward doesn't even quite work out, I don't think, as I think Carrier was trying to get that one over the wall, but got jump scared.
As ended up trying to bail himself out, but obviously will die. And yeah, this is a 3-kill Kalista.
Yep, and it's also a 100% kill contribution Canyon.
Yeah.
He exists in this game!
I was going to mention it earlier, but Canyon has had... Like, he was the last Skarner. When Skarner fell off, he was like, no, I still play that.
He's the only one with the Skarner card.
Exactly. He's the only one who has it. And, you know, normally it was picked into Xinjiao, picked into Silas in this game, and it's working very well for him so far. He is basically making it so he can set up these hooks in a lot of these skirmishes, and obviously the Impale play we saw on Faker's attempted gold card pick onto Chovy earlier was phenomenal. Even though they're playing into the Silas is going to get the access to Impale as well. It has not mattered in these early skirmishes too much just yet. And Gen.G snowballing this game. Now, it's not a big enough lead to where we could say it's a done deal by any means.
Oh, absolutely not.
But it is certainly where you want to be if you're a Gen.G fan.
Yep. And remember, this is one of those compositions from Gen.G that is a little bit lacking in the damage department unless they get big advantages, right? And they have the beginnings of a big advantage if they can continue to snowball this one through. Of course, 13.5 minutes, only 1,500 gold as the Destiny comes on through here. Canyon in a lot of trouble as he flashes over the wall. The Impale going to be avoided as Keen looking to try and duel Doran here, but it's a lot of damage out from Guma to help the Rek'Sai pick up the kill. And a flash hook! And it's going to be both of these top laners going down. The bailout not quite going to work here as the Impale comes through at the same time. Gumayusi is on the warpath, but so is Chovy. Finds the overextended Varus, and now it's Owner throwing chains around, but they are not going to do anything. And the counterpunch from Gen.G just a bit better.
Now Ruler just going to grab a plate here in the mid lane as well. We'll push another wave in that no one can answer. And this is not the kind of composition, I think, T1, that you want to be scrapping with under turret in these situations. As Canyon is so incredibly tanky, even though he is isolated here, it takes forever to take this pick out. Like, now you're really committed in. Like, as T1, you can't just go, oh, well, I guess we'll let it go. You have to commit in and try to look for Keen, because the rotation is coming. The wraparound is coming. Doran is able to avoid turret aggro there with his ultimate, gets the kill there. But then, Duro.
Oh my god, Duro.
He's just insane on this pick. The bailout buys some time here. They're not able to get the reset, unfortunately, for T1. Owner gets in the backline there, but it's the ult there to come through the Petrifying Gaze from Chovy that helps lock down these final 2 kills. It's a massive trade up for Gen.G again. And the Kalista that's pushing mid lane, also a benefactor of this.
Yeah, 3-0-2, and is able to get a bunch of plate money in that mid lane. So was actually down a decent chunk of farm, has kind of evened that up just a little bit here. It's Gumayushi still holding a bit of an advantage. So this Varus is still on track to being scary, but hasn't got any kills himself just yet. As T1 looking for this Rift Herald, Gen.G with full information about that happening. See whether they can actually get in a position to contest. As Canyon gonna drive on in, gets himself over the wall. It will be a 50-50, but it's Owner that wins it. Duro still hunting, looking for a bit of a target. Hostile takeover comes in as Owner goes golden. Keen right in amongst it. The double knock up from Doran's fantastic. He's being bailed out as well as Keen somehow survives. There is no way that he should be allowed to do that, and down goes Owner. Once again, every team fight is just Gen.G all the way.
Yeah, and T1 feel priced into these. They feel like they're behind. They do not want to just give up every objective, especially when you consider this mid turret is so low already. This is going to go over to Gen.G. They cannot find a hook angle here, though.
Yeah, the Destiny is going to come down. They're going to look for Canyon, or at least look to tell him to leave, as he gets a fair bit of rock value. Oh, the hook onto Faker! Duro finds another one! And the attempted bailouts, but it's just too expensive. He's not leaving the police station this time. Down goes another kill, and it's a double for Ruler, making 5-0-4 now.
And a moment ago, I said it's the lead you're looking for Gen.G, but it's not enough to say it's a done deal. I think it is now. Watch this fight here. This is exactly the type of scrappy fight that Gen.G wants. You got the Herald. Good luck getting the eye. Owner goes in here with the Blitzcrank ultimate, then goes golden. Also, by the way, Guma gets hooked in all of this and ends up losing half his health bar here. Doran bleeds out, and Chovy, is he caught or is he killing him?
He's killing him and caught. He's both. He's doing it. He's poisoned both of them. Doran is dealing with so many of these minions. Canyon's making his way over. Scorpion and Snake, they're both very scary, and they are just going to leave. So thankfully, if you do find yourself face to face with a Snake or a Scorpion, walk away.
Or call Atlas.
Walk away.
He's very acquainted with those species where he's from.
We do have a few of those. There are less scorpions in Australia, but we do have some.
This angle here from Duro. Watch this.
Yep. Oh my.
He's like, I got him. And like the angle made it almost look like he missed, but he's just gets him there just on the edge. And then they get slow from the Q here from the Skarner. Canyon helps him take it out, and this is just Ruler running away with this game, and then Chovy in the 1v2 down here at this moment. Ends up getting knocked up, but like, watch the damage come through on the door, and it's actually crazy. He needs help. And finally, Owner shows up, gets the stolen ultimate here.
He just runs so fast.
Like
he slithers so fast.
He's so fast that like Owner can't actually find the angle to ult him back. And this is Gen.G grabbing another dragon here. It's Mountain Soul with the Cassante in the tank.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, if it's a triple mountain with Cassante Skarner, I think we're just calling it.
I think, like, are we calling it now? I'm almost ready to. This is,
I mean, I think we are biased towards Silver Scrapes.
Yeah,
I'm trying to work out, like, you know, how much should we, because this game, like you can see it at the top of your screen, right? 3-13 doesn't look great. 7,000 gold lead, one of the biggest that we've seen pre-20 minutes.
Chovy is 2 levels up without his Rod of Ages.
Yeah. This is the Chovy that we were promised.
Up. Like, look at Faker's XP bar, everyone at 12. Chovy's about to hit 14, and in just a second, he's going to hit 15.
Oh my.
This is actually kind of an unprecedented lead.
Yeah, what? How is it without
Otacon, that's right.
How is it without Otacon and without Rod of Ages? Like, that is What?
He is 50 CS ahead.
Oh, that might have something to do with it.
Like, the observers are watching.
Yeah, like, how does he do this?
He will be 3 levels ahead. Okay, now will he be caught by this TP?
And will this TP be enough? As now Faker trying to get on top of him. Duro is in position. As Keen teleports in as well. The flash out of the way, the hostile takeover, and Gen.G not going to be losing their mid laner in this instance, but they do manage to get the ult and the flash.
Ruler is just pushing mid, and T1 need to rotate over to save it. Duro looking for an angle here to potentially catch a single target on T1's rotation.
This is the most dangerous part, is trying to travel to different places.
Yeah, don't tempt fate, Carrier.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Ruler able to do a fair bit of damage here as Doran also going to get slowed down.
I mean, the carries are so fed here for Gen.G that, like, even when you catch them, air quotes, they're like, no, I kill you, by the way, and they just start attacking you.
And look at all of this vision here towards this top side at the same time. In 12 seconds time, on the top side of the map, the Otacon is going to be spawning. You thought that we had some level discrepancies earlier on. That is only going to get exacerbated.
And, I mean, now here, where do you go as T1? You have to come over to this Otacon where there's a Blitzcrank lurking somewhere, looking to kill whoever checks. That checker
and no one
Carrier.
can check!
Yeah, exactly. It's Carrier on Renata. He's like, I'm so scared. Duro's like, I'm waiting for you.
Yep.
Here you are.
There he is, special delivery, and he will get some extra time with the bailout, but not very much. Chains of Corruption come in. That is an attempted steal opportunity here, but just slammed against the wall. The Otacon getting amongst it at the same time, and that is going to be Otacon secured by Canyon. He gets a casual kill at the same time. Double over to Ruler, and now Faker finds the gold card. Hook is going to miss, but the Twisted Fate surviving does not help the T1 fans feel better about this game.
Yeah, I think Gen.G fans are saying, I'll see you in 5.
Yep.
I think we could say Gen.G won the early game this time for the first time in this series with a 9,500 gold lead here. Now at 20 minutes. I mean, we're past the early game now, but they took the early game lead and they snowballed it. As we predicted this because it's so obvious, the Carrier has to go in and check. He's burst first. And then the follow-up here, it's a really nice ult here, but it doesn't matter because the Impale comes through. The Ren comes out quite early from Ruler, but it doesn't matter. They get the smite because the Sylas is dead, and Guma is just left alone. And then Faker's able to at least avoid the hook, but that is all you could say in the positive column for T1 as Gen.G look to set up.
Oh my, another one! Duro, it's okay. From now on, every single game, teams, they need to ban Blitzcrank. Even he hasn't even been prioritizing this champion. He's so good at it.
I mean, like, Carrier was the guy who caught aiming. I think aiming's feeling a little bit better. Carrier has to be the one to check, right? But
yeah,
like, you're playing without into Blitzcrank, which is why this is such a great pick from ahead. And that's why I said in the draft, I'm like, this is such a confident pick from Gen.G. Like, the draft was so risky, but they were confident they could pilot it. They were confident they could pull it out, and they certainly did, right? Like, this was match point on the line, LCK finals on the line.
Well, Duro's going to get a flash as he wanders on over. Trophy going to get ganked by multiple people. Petrifying gazes all over the place. But Gumayushi gets the shutdown, and an important one at that. 1,100 gold.
Plus,
they will trade their inhibitor turret for it.
Yeah, maybe some bounty gold picked up here, but this turret's so healthy. They have no wave. Canyon helps clear out the rest of that. So no inhibitor to go down, but the inhibitor turret does fall. T1 get the kill and the shutdown, but not that gold.
Can Canyon be damaged? Okay, maybe he can now as the Destiny coming in on top of everything. Gumayushi starting to get some shots over as Canyon just drives his way out. Gumayushi still hunting for it. He flashes into the enemy base, gets impaled. Now he's in turret range. Duro comes over and Canyon, yeah, he's a tank.
I get it.
Guma
knew the game was over. You gotta try something. I mean, you gotta try something.
That's called reading the room, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, he almost got him. You've got game 5. It's okay.
You know, yeah.
But as it turns out, he answered your question. Can Canyon be damaged?
No.
He cannot be damaged.
Not really. Not enough. As Duro, he can be damaged. Gold card going to connect, but it looks like they're a little bit afraid of what could be lurking in the dark.
By the way, he still doesn't have his second second Mountain Drake yet, nor a Mountain Soul.
Oh no.
Imagine how little damage they will do to him after that, as this is, by the way, if there was going to be a contest, which there wouldn't be, you have to fight through Ren stacks and Smite.
Yeah, no, you're not going to, it's not a 50-50 in this case. So the Mountain Drake will be taken down. And Wolf, you know what, it's actually kind of crazy. This is kind of a beautiful juxtaposition of what happened in Game 4 in the T1 versus DK series. But it was the other side, right? It was an absolute blowout. I like this version more because T1 can come back in Game 5 and try and turn it around. Side selection will be theirs in that situation.
The difference in the game state, too, is that the Smolder was kind of completely online, and then one hook had to be the miracle to save the game. Now it's just Duro hooking whoever he wants, and it doesn't matter. They won the early game. That Varus is not online, as we saw in the base.
Canyon almost took it. Okay, just finds the Impale onto Gumayusi somehow! And obviously he's going to survive with over a third health. Yes. Reading the room. I'm going to try and read the room as well.
I'm like, you and I wanted Game 5, and we get our wish.
Yes. This is going to be the inner turret taken down here. Without Gumayusi, there is not a way to defend.
I was already, like, at the beginning of this game, I was trying to do the Faker flexibility narrative. Like, he's playing TF, he was ready to play the Sylas. I thought this was likely to be Gen.G failing in another early game because their early games looked so weak, Canyon looked so weak, but this has been his best game we've seen in playoffs.
Yeah,
he's 19 out of 20.
Oh god, another hook! And it even caught Jonas Strong by surprise as Doran just goes down. Ona now dancing around behind the Baron pit, but Keen, he's a bouncer! He's gonna try and stop him. Ona might be able to get in, but it's not gonna be the steal. It's somehow Cassiopeia that actually gets it as the hook finally won. I see it miss. Good sidestep there from Carrier. Does it matter? No. No, it doesn't at all.
No.
He's still dead. He's going to buy a bit of time. That was such a cute flash. Such a cute flash. As Canyon going to pick up Faker, throw some rocks at him. Ruler looking to bounce his way over. And will be able to get in range. The Blast Cone is going to be able to buy a little bit of extra space.
Carrier is still running away, by the way, in the top.
Oh, okay. Well, Keen will find him. So there we go. Bought some time.
Yeah.
Things are getting a little silly here, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, okay, so let's talk about, I don't even want to talk about these play. We'll talk about one. Okay, this one little Impale. Yeah, got him. This is actually the worst way to go to Game 5 if you're T1, because right, the series looked like you 3-0'd it, like you said. Game 1, you basically won the game, but then you ended up losing. One mistake, lost that one, but then you won 2 in a row. You're like, I'm way better than Gen.G. I'm on match point now. Then you have to play this game out where there's no chance. There's like no chance. There's no way back in. Like, Owner's going for this Hail Mary. Gumo went for his Hail Mary in the base because you know you're 10,000 gold behind. We're going to Game 5. And it's just like Gen.G are slash dancing on you as we go to Silver Scrapes. Momentum is completely Gen.G's now in this series. Did this with Red Side. The Kalista pick worked a treat. I wanted to say I trusted them for the confidence in it, but I thought maybe we were just going to end here and Gen.G say no. Ruler 8-0-8 on his iconic Kalista.
And for me, this whole game is just Duro. This guy on this Blitzcrank, just incredible. I think that Canyon has come back alive, Chovy's come back alive, but Duro is just a man possessed on this robot. Let's see whether he can find another hook as they do get the knock-up onto Ruler. Take him down immediately. The Impale is only onto one. Chovy still there for the DPS, but T1 finding kill after kill. As Chovy, the handshake is fantastic. Owner is going to get taken down, but they take out the Cassiopeia. Can Canyon be damaged? Is still a question that we're all asking, and Gumayusi, he might be able to answer it. He does have the bailout, and as it turns out, no, he cannot be damaged. Canyon is immortal. He finds more rocks, and now he's just gonna get to work, trying to use this lawnmower to take down Faker, not the Nexus. All three of them weren't enough, and the Scorpion will bring us to Silver Scrapes.
Canyon's got a heart of steel at the end of this game. Gets the kill on Guma, the snipe just before. And maybe Canyon was absent in this one for most of it, but he says he is not just going to let T1 take his spot and Inspire away. He and Duro getting the carries fed in this one. And Gen.G bring us to 5 that I think most people didn't think we'd see after 2 dominant T1 back-to-back wins.
Oh my god, and Chronicler said it in his little quote thing that we had the lower third for earlier in the day. He thought that this polar bear was going to exit hibernation. Well, just in the nick of time here in Game 4, backs against the wall, and that is the Canyon that we have wanted to see all playoffs and haven't really at all. Gumiushi did a lot of damage
to a Skarner that he could not hurt, but
yes.
number went up as well. But there's so many damage threats here on the side of T1, and if you commit in, there is no cancel button in this draft for Gen.G. There is no back out. There is no, okay, well, we'll play it slow. We'll look for front to back. It is an extremely all-in draft, which worked for them in the previous set, but here, once again, very, very all-in. You wouldn't have thought this draft would transform the way it did when you saw the Ornn pick. Well, they went heavily onto the dive.
Yeah, kind of haywire. The Lucian pick is the one that I have the most, trepidation about on the Gen.G side. And T1 side of things, I love the draft. I actually think it's fantastic. I think the Lilia was a great last pick to put up there. Maokai, great into Rakan, historically gives them a great engage option there as well. But Gen.G do have a lot of tools, especially in the engage. The Ornn Horn plus the quickness can really get some work done. Man, these are some fun Game 5 drafts. Let's get onto the Rift here. Game number 5.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for the final game of this series. Inspire Arena or go home, and then you have to play in the play-ins against the LPL 4th seed. Both of these teams will be at Worlds, but one of them may only be there for one series.
Yeah, insane. We started the year with Doran and Zeus swapping teams, and Tank Jace was the meta, the very beginning of the LCK. All the way back, LCK Cup, early days of LCK. And Doran had some of his best performances on Tank Jace back then, but we haven't really seen this pick be relevant in several months. And it takes Game 5 Fearless to bring it out again here. And we are going to see that lane swap. I guess we can call it the Viper lane swap from now on that we saw from Hanwha Life Esports. He was the first to do it. He gets to keep the name. And we'll be in Ornn going to the bottom side. And now this Ornn pick makes a lot of sense. They did the similar strategy with the Cassante on the bottom side of the map. Now, you are playing into Ziggs, so it's not a fun time.
Yeah, and Jace certainly going to be able to hold his own a little bit better than a lot of other champions here on this top side. And maybe the Gen.G bottom lane not going to quite be feeling as good. But early game for a Ziggs, not exactly going to be a lane bully, you could say.
Yeah, Duro can obviously offer a lot of sustain for this tanky Ornn pick here in this weird lane swap scenario.
Yep.
So Keen can continue to be relevant about Guma hitting his bombs, and we can weave in autos, especially with his empowered passive, to see how much damage he can get done. This Vex pick was kind of a Yone counter pick for a little while, but hasn't really been very common. Was more of a counter pick for picks like Ahri and stuff back in the day. Haven't really seen it too much, but it was one of Chovy's kind of tech picks. And after Vex was irrelevant, he kept playing it. It's his first time playing it here this season, but does have a history of picking it when other teams would shy away.
Yeah, I feel like this is like a Knight and Chovy pick.
Yeah.
In my mind. They're the two players that I think will always just have Vex there, is how that one kind of goes.
He's 4-0 on the pick.
Damn. Didn't know that it was quite that impressive. For the Vex stats. Thank you to production for letting us know exactly how he's doing thus far.
Ruler's so far putting off a strong performance with that trade there in the top side into Doran. Duro's now joined him here. Significantly less experience, the lane swap, but won't be able to come up, and now the lane swap has kind of completed its journey.
Yep.
As we will see Doran teleporting down bottom side to deal with this Ornn.
Kind of interesting as well with putting the AD carry in a solo lane for just a little while, as we do have sepia mode for a few moments. A little bit of a pause, but it does give us an opportunity to have a bit of a chat about what I was going to say, because it does mean now that the Lucian will have an experience lead for the whole laning phase, right?
Yeah,
so
it gets you
he'll
level
hit
3.
that level 6 first, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it gets you level 3, and you avoid the annoying part of the phase where you're just trying to last hit, and it's hard to queue the Ziggs because he has range and he can kind of lob those bombs at you. And you don't want it all into the Maokai or anything like that, so it's very tricky. But he gets to skip all of that, as we saw with the Smolder. So we'll get confirmation about what this pause is about as soon as possible.
Looks like it's on the Gen.G side.
And luckily, nothing really has occurred in this game that would warrant a...
Yeah. We've had worse pause timings, like immediately in the middle of a team fight and stuff like that. That has happened in the past. Thankfully, not this time.
The only thing I could think of that would be big or weird is like some sort of lane swap detection thing that was created some sort of discussion, or like something didn't interact the way that they would have expected, but I don't think that would have been triggered. So I think it might just be something simpler than that, but we'll let you guys know when we do have confirmation, or maybe it'll just be resolved very quickly.
Yeah, Duro had something that happened, and we'll let you know exactly what that was, but it was Duro. He's not, as you can see right now, communicating anything, so obviously we do have some checks going on, and then we will be able to get, hopefully, back into this game as soon as possible. This is the way. The Game 5 way.
Yeah.
You know, because we need to have this little moment to have a bit of a reset, because everyone was pretty anxious, you know. It was so high octane in game number 4.
You and I both were Gen.G predictors. What was your scoreline that you gave?
Mine died in game number 2.
Okay.
Because I was a 3-0-er.
I went 3-1. I thought T1 was going to get one game, but it was a pretty strong Gen.G favored set of Preds. In fact, the Korean side completely unanimously Gen.G, right?
Yep.
But I said at the beginning of the show, like, my brain is telling me that should be what happens, but like my heart and my waters were telling me that this is going to be a historical series, right? And it feels like we're leaning closer to the historical series here, right? We went to 5. T1 looked like they were going to upset early. Like, they had the lead in game 1. They win 2 back-to-back dominant games. And if you're just tuning in because you heard about the hype, you know, everyone's tweeting about this, everyone's talking about this, that's where we were.
Yep.
And now Gen.G risky draft in game 4, bring us to a 5th game. And now it is a pause here at 3 minutes as we're resolving an issue with Duro.
Yep. And we'll just have to see. Potential bug report has been put forward here by Duro, and I assume we are going to be checking that one out just to make sure whether it is indeed legitimate or not.
There was a moment in the Viper Delight game where the lane swap detection was triggered, and like Delight realized and like immediately left the lane. There was some discussion about this on the KR side when that lane swap did happen, and like. Obviously, if you're in the losing side of the lane swap, you get your farm for free and stuff like that. With this very rarely happens in pro play or in solo queue unless you're getting trolled by somebody in your game. So I'm not even assuming that's what he's talking about, but like it could be something like that because the support will often be the one who realizes this first that something has gone on. So he might be just investigating or checking that out. That's all speculation on my part, by the way. We'll let you guys know as soon as we know exactly what, in fact, he is speculating for himself. And just letting you guys know it was him who
it looked like pausing. Everything was kind of going fine, but I wasn't like 100% locked in on is the lane swap situation going okay. I was mainly just like kind of having a good time. So we'll just have to make sure, as Faker, another opportunity to go for a bit of a reboot here.
Remember, like if you're T1 or T1 fans, it's been such a roller coaster of a series because Faker knows that if he maybe makes a different decision with his teleport in game 1, like they could have 3-0'd the series, right? And you have those 2 back-to-back wins, and then you get completely clobbered in a one-sided game 4 before you go to 5, where it felt like you were just so close. It felt like it was a done deal. You had this series on lock, and for Gen.G, it's been kind of like, oh my god, maybe we still have a chance. Oh, okay, now it's 5. Like, we're still in this. And so it feels like when the series started, momentum was definitely in Gen.G's favor, but it's a dead even game state, as you guys could see from the stats at the bottom of your screen. As the fans aren't taking it too rough here, as you can see as well, just continuing to cheer and support.
Yep. Because it is a bug report, though, it does mean that we have to do our due diligence and make sure that everything is okay. So it might take a little bit longer here.
Yeah,
as far as the pause is concerned.
The reason why we normally have these long pauses with bugs is because these are such weird and unusual interactions that you have to really investigate them fully and check everyone's POVs. And integrity is the most important thing, of course, for a series like this. So thank you for your patience, everyone at home. Some
very cute pictures.
Yeah, some nice little drawings here. The The big thing with Chovy is Bisang means emergency, and it's like Chovy-san. It's a big meme. It's an emergency. Chovy's here.
We've had a few emergency Chovy's here situations on both sides of the equation, as it turns out. In the last game, it was a little bit of he's a very scary snake, and the other times it's an emergency. Where's Chovy?
Yeah.
Has happened just a little bit. We'll see whether this is going to be the dream that will come true, as it'll be a 3-2 for one of the teams. We'll just have to see who it's going to be.
I gotta say the Guma Yushi fans are out in force today. We saw in his walkout, he had so many people trying to take photos, grab those high fives. I went to get coffee right before the show. There were a ton of Guma fans grouped together with Guma jerseys on.
Yeah, I actually took the train to work with a whole bunch of Guma fans because they everyone had the Guma jerseys on. It's actually kind of cool that everyone gets like their favorite player on their T1 jersey or their Gen.G jersey or their team jersey.
Yeah.
And so you know which specific player they're like most of a fan of. Obviously, I feel like the default version is just the Faker one that you do see a lot of, but there were a lot of Guma fans.
This sign must have been written after the game 1 loss, so it says lose, win, win, and then win, so like 3-1 win, but they changed it to like, okay, win game 5.
How do we fix it? Oh, God.
I love these Doran photos.
Yeah, he's turned into a bit of a rock star going over to T1. And honestly, all power to him, especially with the fact that the gameplay has gone along with it as well. As it's kind of nuts.
It says mid and it says like basically mid and bot going boom's not my problem. It says like that's not how you play top, by the way, like on the little expression there as well.
Oh, Wolf, there's another really good thing about this pause as well, is that we know episodes of the Pog State are generally better when the day is longer, for example.
And sometimes Dagon eats food.
Yeah, why is there Dagon cam?
Guac? Nice.
Okay.
Sometimes you gotta guac in the pause. It's bro colored. He's gotta get his bro in somehow.
I can't remember what I was saying.
But you said that. I don't remember what you were saying either.
Yeah. Sorry. Normally,
the pause is good because.
Yeah, because we have the Pog State that we're filming afterwards, and the longer the day, the better the Pog State episode. Or at least the more insane we are. As players, I believe, have gotten permission to go to the bathroom. We are making sure that we let everyone know that that is what was happening. So Doran and Carrier, I believe, have gone to take a little bit of a break.
How do you suppose they keep them from talking about the game?
I think because you stay in comms with them. I think it's, oh, wait, when they're in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Oh, true. But if they
only the Pog State episode about this,
maybe they have to be walking a certain amount of distance apart.
Well, I suppose it's possible you could like hold one player and then like one player goes in first, and then after he comes out, the other player can go in.
Yeah, something like that. There's the other thing as well, is we are getting cheers, so I assume someone's come back.
Doran.
Yes, Doran making his way back in.
Okay, back. Okay, yes. And then I think someone also on the Gen.G side left, if I am not mistaken.
Wait, left the building?
Keen.
Keen. So Keen's gone home. We are going to have somebody else come and play. I think it's Yundo, as I think he volunteered to be top lane. Keen just had another appointment that he had to get to. Carrier back to the roar of the crowd.
I could see a world where like Doran and Carrier, it's a game 5, gotta go to the bathroom. Carrier has a notorious finals bathroom toilet issue, but Keen is, I could imagine he's like brushing his teeth right now. He's like, you know what? It's about, just trying to stay, keep my hygiene up,
Yeah, it's like, I just forgot after lunch, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's just bothering me, Sometimes you just...
I mean, look at the water stacks, across these players here.
Oh, there's some serious hydration going on. This is, perfect
I will inform
spokespeople for keeping hydrated.
I will inform everyone that casters were not given permission to go to the bathroom.
Yep. We have not actually gone to the bathroom. I think maybe if these were wireless headsets, we could have almost got away with it.
Yeah.
But no, that is not how that one's worked. As you may have noticed, we've been speaking this entire time. Also, don't need to go. For your information, Wolf, I'm doing okay.
So, I want to say that of these two teams who've been in high-stakes situations like this the most, I feel like these are two teams that would be almost the least affected by an extended pause like this at 320 into a game, right? Like, I think that a lot of people are probably worried, like, these players are probably not having the greatest time. They obviously can't talk to each other about the game and stuff that's going on right now, so they have to just kind of sit there in zen mode, as we saw from Faker moments before. But I think that these teams, especially Faker, has been in this situation like a million times.
Yeah.
He knows how to do the Faker reboot, and I'm sure that they will get through this just fine. I don't know what's going on with his dog that keeps being shown, but
yeah.
it's very cute.
I feel like that dog has been on the broadcast a lot more than it should for the amount we don't know about it.
Yeah.
It's got some more things crossed out.
It's the meme with the like raging face behind the happy mask.
Yeah. It's actually very cute though. Yep, I think a lot of us are probably feeling that way.
Let's go get revenge on KT, that sign says.
Mm-hmm.
A Gen.G fan, of course.
See whether that is what they're going to figure out. Speaking of figuring things out, I want to speculate so bad, but I feel like I get in trouble when I speculate about like the kind of bugs that could happen. I know we already have a little bit about the lane swap stuff as Ruler comes back, does his heroes wave to the crowd.
I mean,
he's like, yep, all good now. Bathroom was successful. We nailed it.
They were quite staggered, the bathroom breaks there from Keen and Ruler.
Oh, yeah, so maybe you're right. Maybe they're not allowed to go in together.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's
Did I just open up a new
integrity.
competitive integrity concern today?
No, I think...
That's a ref! Where's he going?
Wait.
He's got the info I need! Come back!
Maybe going back to talk to all of the bug experts that are out there with their nets, collecting all the bugs, making sure they know exactly which ones are operating and which ones are not.
Well, with the rise of this new Viper lane swap tech, like, if it is a lane swap issue, it's good that we're sorting this out right now and figuring this out, because this could be something we see in Inspire, this could be something we see at Worlds.
Welcome back, Keen. Yeah, it could be another one of those. If it is that and it's like the timings were a bit weird or something like that, it could be that like it just came in and Duro kind of messed up getting to lane a little bit early or something like that, but
yeah,
not entirely sure about how it has worked.
But with the way like lane swap, the lane swaps get detected and the client doesn't show up on the observer client, as far as I can tell, so it's hard for us to show like even footage later to explain what happened. If that is even what's happened, we don't know. Duro could be like, my unsealed spellbook ain't working. Like, we have no idea, but...
Oh, I've got another theory. This is a little bit more tinfoil hat, maybe up your alley, Wolf, okay? Yeah. So since this pause has started, the amount of viewers on twitch.tv has gone up 20,000.
Yeah.
For us, and I think like 30,000 for Kate.
Controversy and pauses always bring more people.
This is the thing. Maybe Duro just wanted more people to watch his Game 5 against T1, and so that's why the pause came in. He had to figure out a bug to come up with.
He alt-tabbed in the game, and he was like, I see there's only approximately a million billion people watching. That can't be right. There has to be more.
Yeah, it needs to be a million billion billion, not a million billion.
Yes, give or take, like across all streams, like about a million billion.
Hey, it's a Cadril fan. Speaking of which, from Jakarta as well. That's pretty cool.
Hi, Cadril.
Hi, Cadril. I hope you're coping with the pause well, as well, my friend, as we're doing our very best to
He's like one layer removed from the pause information from us.
Yeah, exactly. So it's even more difficult. Maybe he's got his own technicians that are on it. Maybe he has people that are on the inside. I'm not entirhear sure. Well, I feel like this is unfair because I feel like
he can rewind and look at what...
But he can also listen to us right now a little bit, and we can't hear what he's like. We're not having a
and you know what, like when I translate the signs, I'm translating the signs for all of his streams, like translate something back to me.
Yeah, but like I guess I could message him on Twitter and just say like, hey, how you doing? I hope you're doing okay. I'll just send that through.
Maybe he gets in our Twitch chat and responds.
Ah, maybe. Nah, that's fine. I think just doing it via a messenger type situation. Hope you're doing okay. Yeah, buddy. You're doing okay. I'm a slow typer.
It says it's me again.
This pause is rough. There we go.
He sent it.
I sent it.
I wonder if
wow,
he's ready to send it.
He's responding. Golly gee, who would have thought? He's a long way away.
He does listen to us.
I didn't know that he'd respond that quickly. I thought my carrier pigeon had to bring the information more speedily.
Oh, wait, hold on. Clipboard's out.
Oh, hang on. I almost saw what was on the clipboard. If we enhanced that, like in Super Troopers, we'd be able to have all of the information that's on that clipboard.
It might just be like a list of the fearless wins. I don't know what's on that clipboard. It looked like a Excel file, so I don't know if...
Cadril has a little bit of added speculation and information. That's his suspicion. Quite rough. Suspect this pause has something to do with Aduro getting a cannon top lane with his support item and maybe lane swap detected.
Ooh, one extra layer on the lane swap detection with the support item to getting the cannon.
I kind of like that. I kind of like that it's a bit more specific. Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah, okay.
And I don't know whether that is necessarily some... Oh, we are going to be resuming soon. What that means, I am not entirely sure. But we have determined that no bug has actually occurred, and we will just be going about our business, but with a little bit of a break. Let's just catch everyone up, Wolf, with what has happened in this game number 5 thus far. A lot of water has been drank by our players. That is definitely a thing. Also, it's 3 minutes and 20 seconds into the game.
Yeah,
so
it's game 5. Gen.G...
Some laning has occurred.
Gen.G won game 1 in a comeback. T1 won 2 decisive, one-sided games in 2 and 3. Gen.G pull out the Callista in game 4 with the Blitzcrank performance from Duro to bring them back into this series in 5. We had the level 1 lane swap from Ruler.
Whoa!
And we're back.
Video games have occurred once again on our screens. It is a joyous occasion. And let's see how it is going to go from now on. As we do have some Australian lanes, Gumushi and Carrier here towards the top side of the map. And it's just really good to know that everyone that needed to go to the bathroom has gone to the bathroom. And so no one's going to be uncomfortable and they can focus. That's why the pause is sometimes a really good thing. Oh yeah, there's a Vex in this game. That's cool.
Yeah, the Vex was
let me just look.
draft.
Yeah, there's a Lilia.
Yeah, Lilia also chosen, true.
Cool.
T1 held several flexes until that Lilia was locked in. Speaking of the Lilia, trying to come over here and steal this Raptor camp away, but will be unsuccessful.
Yeah.
We had the victim of the lane swap really be that Ornn sort of in the bottom lane for a little while. Actually looked like he was going to channel it back, but does not go for it. And we're in an even game state here. T1 with a slight gold lead.
So if you are confused about why things were paused, there was a suspected bug, but the bug wasn't actually a bug, and then we resumed the game.
And we don't have full details on it, but I'm sure the information will come out eventually.
Yeah, there'll be a statement about it, and we'll try and keep you informed if we do get any added information, but otherwise we'll just go along with the game.
Yeah, I think Cadril's speculation is probably closest to anything we have, and let's move on. So, yeah, this is a bad matchup for Yone.
Faker is in a little bit of trouble, but he is up a teleport, so actually just good use of health bar.
Yeah. Chovy may stop this back, however. Not quite with the cooldown, as Faker actually decides to stay, because teleport takes so long. You don't just get that wave for free. Nice dodge here from Faker.
Yeah, it wasn't a cannon wave, so he couldn't actually buy the extra time, but it still feels dangerous.
I mean, now he's just going to lose a plate as well.
Okay, well, Chovy laning very effectively here at the beginning of this game number 5. And but same can be said for Gumushi chilling in his lane as well.
One more lane
Lilia.
stop or back stop,
no.
And he hits it as well. Faker hits level 6 first, but won't necessarily matter here. Hopefully, won't have to use it defensively. Chovy has 6 now as well. But this is also I wanted to mention this earlier. Maybe it could have been a talking point in the pause, but Faker not known for his Yone, even though he does have that world skin on it. That was really best performance on the pick. We saw him struggle with the pick a lot over the course of many Yone metas.
Yep.
And simply dealt with it by just not picking it most of the time. As it gets stopped again!
Man, this is really frustrating. This time at least it is a cannon wave, so we'll likely only miss 1 minion and then should be able to pick up the wave. But
his
still,
beak is getting worn out, man.
Yeah, no, it's kind of ludicrous. And actually he's going to stick around as Keen having a pretty good time, actually. Like, is even on farm and is just kind of hanging out. So the Ornn into the Jace is working for him as he finds the ulti onto Doran as well. Not going to get the Searing Charge off or anything like that, but has a health advantage here in this bottom lane, although the minion wave was already taken away.
Conducting himself quite well.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, in the bottom lane.
I love a good train reference.
That one, yeah. As Faker will find himself a little bit behind in farm here, but Chovy is like, Do I ult for it? He's like, nah.
Finally, Faker is allowed to go home.
Chovy did get a extra back off during all of that. Now the wave is pushing towards him as Doran is caught.
This is not where he really wanted to go for the honey fruit, and Chovy is right in position. Doesn't quite find the Q, and does find the ulti to pick up the kill there. Chovy might actually be able to find another one, and then does hit it onto Faker, who will be snapping back, but just a bit of damage, you could say.
The lane is such a terrible spot for Faker at the while all of that was happening, but he couldn't impact the skirmish there.
But first blood going over to Chovy just because Doran wanted to get some honey fruit.
Yeah, that was kind of greedy from Doran there. Walked face first into an ultless Nocturne, but Nocturne still got that fear, still has that backup from Chovy.
And
this is a pretty rough start here for T1 in this early game.
Yep. And picking up assists, a huge deal for Nocturne. I feel like Ultimate Hunter is something that we talk about all the time, but also just any sort of acceleration towards that level 6 is fantastic. And speaking of which, he does have it now. As Keria Gumushi getting this wave shoved towards the turret. Not necessarily finding too much, as the satchel is going to be able to get Gumushi to safety.
Yeah, stop that brittle proc.
Yeah.
Canyon's going to get this dragon, but it's going to be an exchange here, 1-for-1 with the grubs. There's a Chemtech dragon, so pretty high value to grab this one early. Means that chances are the soul will be more impactful. Again, could still be like an ocean. We'll find out momentarily whether we'll know what that second dragon is.
Triple grub Ziggs.
Triple grub for Ziggs, plus, you know, the side laning Jace. This is not a strong side laning composition here for Gen.G, but the fact that Ziggs can just, if you win a team fight, walk up to a turret and explode it is definitely a potential issue. But this is an all-in dive draft here for Gen.G where you basically want to be in control of the map non-stop. If Ziggs gets to hit a turret, the game state is not good for you. It means you're not doing the thing that comp is designed to do.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to collapse on a Ziggs who wants to try to greedily hit a turret in the mid lane or later in sides, because Guma, of course, took teleport on Ziggs. And so that's where the Nocturne Vex comes into play.
Oh, Dura looking for a bit of an angle, but Faker a bit fast on his feet, especially with Boots 2 now put together, so isn't going to get caught out. Like ships in the night, Keria and Dura are just going to pass by one another, but Chovy gets a really nice combo there. And half the health bar of Faker is going to be missing. Red buff is going to be foregone for the moment here by Canyon, but so far you can see slight gold advantage or something like that there for Gen.G, but I think the grubs are going to be very important for T1, so that is a great pickup to start things off. Otherwise, things even on the rift between the two squads. Kind of what we want here in this Game 5, although kind of want chaos as well. I don't know. What's your favorite type of Game 5? Like a really close back and forth, mainly macro experience, as the culling is going to get soaked by Gumushi.
I like it when two comps scale. We kind of have like trading dragons, and it ends up being like one of those 40-minuters where you maybe go to Elder, or maybe it's a lot of team fighting, or it's team fights where like only one member of both teams survives at the end of the fight and we reset and do it again. That's the kind of Game 5 I'm usually into. As long as it's not a one-sided Game 5, I love any type of Game 5, but I don't think we're getting the insane scaling game here from the draft that we see from Gen.G. I think they are going to be fighting a lot. It's going to be a lot of tension, and it starts now.
Paranoia comes down. The Nature's Grasp does come on through, but it is so much damage onto the Lilia, and she just gets obliterated. Keria now finding himself in an awkward spot as Chovy flashes over to pick up the feats of warfare. And even there's trains coming into the top side of the map. Doran to try and boop Keen away. Keen just trying to have fun like the rest of his friends on this map, but he's a top laner in the end, and so he's just going to have to go back to Biffo
and this is
stuff like that.
The exact type of combo and setup I talked about that's strong into the Maokai pick, as Guma is trying to grub his way to another plate.
Could be a bit of extra money here, as that one is very, very close, and yep, should be going on over. As Chovy finds Faker once again, 2-0-1 though on this Vex. Chovy is going to be very scary in this mid game.
So the Nature's Grasp is used against a lot of melee and dive compositions for complete zoning, right? Where you say, you want to come towards my carries, you want to come towards the back line. This just completely nullifies that. And even as a support, you don't need items to make that sort of impact as Keria in this game. But that last skirmish allowed Gen.G to just, with these champs and go straight through it, do exactly that. Now, on the reset, by the way, Guma and Keria, with those 3 grubs, are going to get the whole turret!
Okay, there's his first turret. This is what Ziggs is supposed to do.
Yeah.
Somewhere, Orcs is like, oh man, Guma gets it. He's figured it out.
You use the Vex and the Nocturne ults in that skirmish, and then there's no one to answer the Ziggs, and so sure, you won the fight, but T1 walk away with a gold lead here. As we go back to this, these two T1 members, Carrier and Owner, are very isolated. Teleport's coming through, but look at this, you just go straight through as Vex. Do not care. Chovy has to flash for this kill. Is Keen maybe in trouble?
Yep. Speaking of flashes, Keen does have to use his as he avoids everything else. No bowling ball going to connect there. As Canyon continuing to farm things up.
He's nearby with his ultimate, so T1 need to be careful about trying to overextend here. They're not going to do it, though. They're just going to send Ziggs to the other turret with plate money.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice knockup there from Keen. Actually, Doran taking a little bit of damage as Dora's going to make his way in. Keen getting a little sleepy, but then decides to breathe fire, and that, as it turns out, wakes you up. And so not going to be having a nap.
Yeah, whenever you eat something spicy, you get a little drowsy, you have that one burp.
Yep.
It'll wake you up.
That's exactly how that one goes.
That could have been a disaster there for the side of Gen.G had they not had the Nocturne there, because it could have been a lot of potential money going over to T1. Still maintaining gold parity in this game, but they defend it well. Canyon, right time, right place on that Nocturne. Has his experimental Hex Plate completed. Same to be true of Owner with this Leandrius. A lot of poke between the Ziggs, the Lilia, and then the Jace as well here. It's not tank Jace anymore. Just standard Ghost Blade into the Muramana. So a lot of poke, a lot of burst damage in this draft here for T1.
It is a bit of a finesse draft, though, right? Like, I feel like
it's a keep-away draft.
Yeah, it's still one of these drafts that doesn't really want a straight-up brawl, which is precisely what Gen.G do want almost this entire game, right? They want to throw their Nocturne in. They want to get that culling over the top. They want Ruler to be able to actually fight in close range.
This is my favorite type of draft disparity, as we're going to see another attempt to get Keen here, just thwarted by a rotation up. He's going to try to turn this around.
Yep, looking for the train. They will be able to knock up Doran, but the nature is grasping. Knocked back. Great satchel there from Gumayushi, but the quickness is so good as well. Chovy over to the top, and it is going to be the Drake being taken by Canyon, and somehow all of Gen.G does survive. Keen just a bit too tanky.
Has just a 5-man attempt here by T1 on the top side of the map means Gen.G get the dragon for free. The defense is there. The turret is still quite strong at this point. So many low health bars there for T1. Nobody dies, but the dragon goes over. And they're not able to secure the turret here for the Ziggs. Skuma's just looking pretty good on this pick, by the way, in terms of where he's going, how he's playing this pick so far. Excited to see where he takes things next. I know not everyone's excited about the tier that he has in his inventory right now, but in terms of how much money he's been able to pick up, he has an 800 gold lead right now from grabbing plates, from trying to apply that pressure with his squad and take these turrets off the map. A lot of plates went down, and he's still clearing waves in mid lane and zigzagging it up. But this is my favorite type of draft difference, right? Where you have one team that's trying to outrange and poke, the other team that goes all in. It's two completely different identities with very different win cons. One playing defense, the other is just constantly on the attack. And Gen.G, if they're going to not let this Herald go over, they are going to have to be on set attack right now.
Yeah, they don't have the quickness, though. Duro missing that ability to engage. And it does look like T1 should be able to grab this, and there it goes. Their second objective is going to be locked down. T1 with first turret and Gen.G with feats of warfare, and so the next objective will get feats of strength for either team.
And I think with this Herald, it's likely second turret will be T1's as well with this Ziggs pick. Looking for this top one, maybe.
Yeah, Keen looking for a little bit of an angle there, but a lot of T1 members in the area.
Look at the zoning tools this draft has between the bombs on the ground here for Goom, Carrier's ult, and his saplings. Sure, the Vex Nocturne can get past that, but on these small skirmishes that aren't really fights, they're just positioning and scuffles around vision, scuffles around like this zoning. There's so much value here in the range that T1 can offer Gen.G. Gen.G have to kind of play around that very defensively as, okay, Faker potentially collapsed on.
Let's see what Gen.G can actually get done here as he does bring back the soul, but there's the paranoia. The fear comes on through. Mega Inferno Bomb to try and offer some damage back, but it's not going to be enough. Faker is just going to get taken out. Gen.G do find their man.
Unfortunately, Ziggs was not pushing a turret at that time, so Guma's not going to get a cross map out of this one. We'll get a stop on Canyon's back, so get something at least, but I mean, even though Faker reacted so incredibly well there, has his flash and his ultimate, the range at which this comp with Ornn, Vex, and the Nocturne can engage is just insane. It looks like this is something Gen.G has been scrimming a lot with how practiced they are on it. Yone seems so safe. Like, how can you catch me with so much mobility, but ends up getting caught just the same there. Everything layered on top of Faker, and he is blown up.
It does mean, though, now Gold is basically even between the two squads. No objective to pick up after this kill onto Faker, so it is just a kill onto Faker.
He unbinds, so they know exactly where he's going to be. He still ults incredibly well, but like the Ornn can redirect its ultimate to find him there. There's a Vex ultimate.
Yeah, and Canyon actually went all the way to find him as well. I think he was trying to snap back just after the Nocturne gets there, so he doesn't actually have to worry about it, but unfortunately didn't quite work out, and even then I don't know whether it would have been enough. Does mean that Canyon doesn't have to invest his flash into the play, as Chovy looks for a bit of an angle there. Redemption for some support onto Doran, and that is going to be out of turret picked up. The Zig's just doing precisely what he wants to do, as no second charge, but still getting enough done.
Yeah, he gets this turret here. The turret is down. Mentioned when the Herald went over, that was likely going to be the outcome. All of the money for Gen.G is on this Vex right now, whereas the rest of the gold is split pretty evenly in advantages for T1. The Zig's pretty big. The Jace doing just fine. Still going to offer a ton of poke later on. The Lilia going to be doing some power farming. 20 farm up on Canyon right now, but it's about whether the Zig survives when we get to a real team fight. It's the easy part now to kind of walk around the map and hit turrets with 3 grubs and Satchel and with a Herald support. It's like, okay, free money, but what if the coin purse goes boom? That's what Gen.G is relying on with this draft, with this setup. There's so many squishy targets to dive on. If T1 are grouped, it becomes a little bit harder because you grab one target maybe, but there's so many other threats. That's what they're kind of relying on when we get to those fights later. But if you get isolated in sides, if the Jace is picked alone and then fights become 5v4s, that can be the hard part for T1. But so far so good in terms of setting the Zigs up for success.
Yep, it's working thus far. And like you say, having the entire lead on Chovy is a little bit of a worrying situation because he has been pretty good at the video game in his career. So, I mean, if you're ever going to put all your eggs in a basket, probably go with that one.
If it says Chovy on it, it's a pretty good basket.
Yeah, good basket, that one. As Nature's Grasp coming on in here, it's a big commitment. Mega Inferno Bomb onto said Chovy, but he isn't going to get taken down just yet. Now the paranoia, now the re-engage, and Doran is just dead. Still these health bars from Gen.G are so low. Canyon having to get himself out of there, and Owner just spins on top of this Rakan. Canyon somehow lives for so incredibly long. Gumayushi is so healthy as well. Somehow, it's a Gen.G advantage in the fight, but it's T1 that get on top of this dragon.
I think they're thinking better of it though, Faker!
Oh, the fear does come on through still. Faker not going to die to one combo, but isn't going to be able to take the dragon. As never mind, T1 won the fight, right? It was 2 for 3.
It's 2 for 2, I believe.
Oh, was it 2
in the
for 2?
end. And
okay.
So when we go into this fight, the initial setup here, the sleep goes down, the bomb is layered, so much damage onto Chovy, but they can't kill him. The redemption's
so good.
And then look at this turn onto Doran. He's deleted. The follow-up charm to come through here from Duro as well is massive, but then Owner's like, these health bars are low. I'm Lilia. Goes in there. Canyon lives for a really long time in this fight. Eventually taken out here. Keen also so incredibly low, but they can't chase anymore. They don't have buttons. Faker's melee doesn't have his ult. You can see even that's why Chovy went to try to trap him there and blow him up with that combo. Oh, little void thing that could not. Oh,
and it is the dot going to be enough to take down the turret on that top side. So the entire outer ring has now been removed by T1. 0 turrets picked up for Gen.G.
All right, well.
And somehow gold is still pretty even. Otacon has spawned as well.
Otacon's up. I mean, the game felt slow. We had that long pause, but we're starting to zoom towards the mid-game now.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun.
Ruler chunked out here. T1 want to try to turn off this Otacon, but they don't have their critical ultimates just yet. But if they can buy enough time and use the control vision around this zone right now to kind of poke away, they will eventually get those ults, but this is why Gen.G group up faster here, and we're going to see Doran just head back to the side lane, and I think the Otacon idea is now a thing of the past. T1 not going to be starting up. Gen.G do have control over it now.
A bit of damage there coming out from Ruler, but not too much more is going to come of this. The Otacon has been started.
And he's just going to buy an item before he goes in.
Yeah, Redemption coming on through. That is going to give them the information that this has been taken. as there are a lot of presents, but they're not being woken up as Chovy off to the side. Faker comes on in, there's the paranoia. They're looking to try and turn this. Chovy lands the ult, gets in there, and both of the carries just get destroyed as Lilia and Yone go down. Doran tries to get out, but now Carrier not going to be so lucky. Feats of strength come in as well for Gen.G as they take the Otacon, and that looked like a much better fight for them.
A much better fight for them. The Otacon they take is control. They stop T1 from taking it. They dissuade them from doing so, get the group up there, and the collapse is so strong with this draft. The turn is amazing, and the Nocturne ult, the paranoia, makes it so difficult to outplay this moment. Unfortunately for Owner and Faker here, they both stand on top of each other, which is exactly where Duro is going to come in and engage on them. Doran has to flash away. Carrier is just left alone, has to TP out, but the Otacon is a success for Gen.G. Also, we'll grab Soul Point in this game. When we first saw the Chemtech Dragon, we're like, we don't know what Soul it's going to be. It's an Ornn, again, with Mountain Soul. Another Mountain Soul game here for Gen.G, and
oh my
they have Soul Point.
And look at the Essence Reaver, it's already upgraded. Keen's level 14. And so the ornaments are going to start really stacking things up, and so it's going to feel a little bit like this snowball is rolling even faster than we expect. Faker doesn't quite find the knock up here onto Keen. Does manage to hit him with a bunch of buttons, but Keen doesn't seem too perturbed by it with 2 items already completed.
Yeah, when you factor in the extra XP for an Ornn, feels really good.
Not to mention the standing gold situation, right? Like, it's only 1,000 gold lead, but that's because Gen.G hasn't taken a turret.
Yeah.
There are 3 that are already on the floor for T1, so as these structures start to go down, if Gen.G can hold on to the level of control that we think an advantage like this is going to be able to get them, and it could get even worse, unless T1 can find themselves a turnaround. Catch Gen.G overstepping. That's what this composition does so incredibly well.
Yes.
If you step too far forward,
You can't side lane.
yeah, you're kind of ruined.
And oftentimes the Maokai just prevents collapses from happening, but not into this draft. It can give you a little bit of zoning, don't get me wrong, but
That looked like Ruler did a barrel roll.
yeah.
That was very
This
cool.
was a ballerina right there.
That was a bit sideways.
It's very funny looking.
I liked it.
So you can see the gold leads, we keep highlighting this. Chovy is the most fed member here for the side of Gen.G, but everyone else is very competitively close. And it doesn't matter if you have leads from the turrets you took early if your carries blow up instantly in a team fight, which is what happened in that Otacon exchange. And now Gen.G just want to control this bottom side of the map where the dragon is for the next 3 minutes here. Very difficult to start Baron with this comp for T1 unless they have full control.
Yeah.
They're just going to surgically start removing turrets off the map.
And this bottom outer is going to get taken. Mega Inferno Bomb is going to deal with the wave. And this is what this composition from T1 does very well. It's why Gen.G have been unable to take turrets thus far, is because the existence of Ziggs is a huge deal.
Yeah, and there's not really that much trade-off. There's nothing to fight for yet here. The Baron is not going to be started by T1 in 15 seconds, so you can commit your bomb there.
That's a 2-level advantage in mid.
Again, happened on...
A level and a half. Let's give it a level and a half.
Yeah, well, a level and a half, you're right.
Yeah.
No Rod of Ages this time to get the triple we saw previously, but Gen.G now just kind of going, all right, like we have big lead, we have the combo working a treat, Chovy has that extra arm guard, all we got to do is secure this dragon, and the longevity of this comp with the ornaments and the Mountain Soul makes that late game feel a lot more palpable than it did before. It felt like before you're like, oh, 1,000 goldie, that's nowhere near enough with this draft, but certainly it is going to be about the team fights. It's going to be about the setup. How much poke can T1 get done before Gen.G all in on top of them? Can they use poke to try to control objectives? These are the questions they're going to have to answer as a culling comes out from Ruler.
Wow, that's doing a lot of damage, as Ruler has a ton of farm in this game. He's ahead of the clock by 20 CS, which is kind of ludicrous.
I mean, they did a lot of damage here. They have control of this Baron pit now.
Yeah, Keen trying to look for that knock-up, doesn't quite get it, as he could theoretically go to sleep, but I don't think they want to use it on Justin Ornn, who can mitigate the CC. Faker here towards this bottom side of the map.
Chovy
trying to get that split to work.
He should be able to get this turret with the TP there to the mid lane. Okay, it doesn't have really a thicker wave. I thought he had a bigger one here. It does have another one coming, but it's going to require response here from T1.
Yeah,
Faker is backing.
I'm not going to be invested into this or anything like that. As Canyon moves over. Watch out, Eep there from Owner. Will do a fair bit of damage, but doesn't quite find the pirouette. As Bowling Ball collected there by Canyon, who does take a little bit of a nap, but not hit by the sweet spot of that one. Redemption does come on down here as Paranoia coming on through yet again. Ruler finding the angles there, and Chovy connects so many ultis. There's the fear onto Faker. He's unable to actually make his way forward. It's Duro not going to finish off Doran, who is on his last legs in this fight. The ulti from Faker comes through, but it's onto Keen, and he's basically immortal on this on. Owner still able to get some work done, though, as now he's spinning around this battle. Keen just headbutts Doran to get him out of there, and Canyon and Chovy, the last men standing on their side, whereas it's Gumayusi Owner holding down the fort for T1. Another very even team fight in this game.
All right, these are the kind of even team fights I was talking about. I'd love to see in a Game 5. Very scrappy, very split up for T1, but each individual player playing it so well, especially Owner. It all starts off knowing that the spell shield for Canyon is down. They commit the sleep and the bomb. He also gets caught by the root here. Duro is low, but then look at how fragmented T1 is. Keria gets jumped on here by Chovy. Chovy then takes a bunch of the health away from Guma. Torrent's flash here, though, is phenomenal. He can offer a little bit more damage in this fight. As look at Faker as well. Gets the extra shield. Duro narrowly escapes initially, forces Owner's flash. That's a big catch, by the way. That's a big win that Owner has to flash there, as Keen does get that final moment there. Gets the kill onto the Jace. Is finally shut down. But like the big win is for T1 that they have the better set now for this Dragon fight. They have the zoning, they have the range to back this up. The vision isn't lasting forever here as Gen.G takes that away from them. How much poke can they land before Gen.G start this Dragon up is the real question. Keen?
Yeah, how good is his sleep going to be as well? There's the knock-up, and Keria just dies! Mega Inferno Bomb also not able to do anything! As Gen.G, they did push the Paranoia button, but now the Redemption comes down. They're basically full health, and the ulti connects onto Guma. He gets feared, and you can understand why he's scared, because this Gen.G are on the warpath in this game. Faker gets over the wall, but Chovy is lurking, and he will be able to finish off the Yone. The resets come on in, he finds the ult, he finds the Q, and there's the double kill for the Vex. Gen.G, they take the soul, and now they're looking for Baron.
They're looking for Baron. They have a 3,000 gold lead. That collapse onto Guma was maybe the winning moment here for Gen.G in this series. His Owner looks for a trap here, tries to put those health bars low, tries to dissuade them from doing a Baron, but he's got no flash and no chance of stopping Gen.G from taking this one down. They give him no entry, no angle. And Gen.G might have just done it. It's only a 3,000 gold lead, but with this comp and the Baron they have, the standing gold you mentioned is going to be massive. As Keria goes in here a little bit too deep with a grasp there, and then he's just instantly taken out.
Like the Dwarves of Moria, Wolf, you're exactly right. A little bit too greedily and too deep.
And then Guma is just left alone as Faker's trying to disengage. He also was denied his ultimate.
Interruption there. Missed that one the first time.
And he does not want to go back to his body, and he won't, because he's taken out before he could even snap back. Doran then just the victim of another Chovy ult reset. And this series has had a little bit of everything in it, but this dive comp from Gen.G, the unique Vex, this comp, it looks like they were saving just for a situation like this. They didn't necessarily want to show it today in this series, but they bring it out.
Ulti just barely missing on Aguma there, who does have a fair bit of wave clear, but unfortunately against Baroned up minions, the Ziggs loses a whole lot of that power.
Chovy and Canyon absent in that series against KT. Canyon woke up with a Skarner game. I think Chovy's been here this series pretty much all along, but this Vex game, 4,000 gold against his opposition. The Cassiopeia as well, 3 levels up in Game 4.
I think the last two games, Chovy has definitely made his way back. The first 3, honestly, still looking a bit absent. Canyon as well. This is what happens when Gen.G are firing on all cylinders. As the train has left the station, there's the knock-up onto Keria. This tree not lasting very long. The knock-up immediately afterwards onto Doran as well. As Keen manages to find that angle, and now Chovy is looking for the ulti. This time he connects it. The ult from Faker to try and pick him up though, but unfortunately these wallets be heavy, and down goes the Ziggs with no response.
They clear the wave, they buy themselves some time in this game, and they're certainly going to need it. 40 seconds on the Ziggs, 30 on the Jace, and the map is falling around them with this Baron buff wave coming through. It's just a matter of time before this base is cracked open. Looks like Gen.G might have their opportunity for revenge on KT, and potentially then revenge on Hanwha for the Summer Finals in 2024. One last opportunity to defend for T1.
Bit of a face plant here from Keen, but we'll see whether they actually have the damage to take him down. I don't even think Nexus turrets are really doing anything to this on. First Nexus turret will be taken out as T1 clearing out the wave, and with everyone respawning and some lower health bars, it looks like Gen.G are trying to get themselves out of their Faker. Going forward though, looking for an angle. Bowling balls connecting as Ona doesn't quite have the lilting lullaby, and it's a flank TP angle from a Ziggs. Chovy is going to find him, but this health bar is so... Oh my god, he just died in an instant! He walked around a corner and just Chovy went boo! And he's dead!
And that's the end of it!
Oh my god, Faker is now taking so much damage. The train drives on through there. They're getting the fears. Ona's going to be taken down, and the Nexus will follow. Gen.G will avoid the play-ins, and you will see the MSI defending champs at the Inspire Arena.